Chapter 3:18. The immemorial battlefield was in chaos. 80% of the experts rushed to the territory of the insane sect's juniors. Tian and the others seemed to have gone mad. Anyone who dared to stop them would be their mortal enemy. Kill! The elders of the insane sect were in a mess. Mu Yu Tianchen and Nangong Qingyue maintained their strongest power and swept through the battlefield. They wanted to go back and save Di Longtian and the others. However, the hidden experts seemed to be doing it on purpose. Tian, Tian Gongshen, and all the other cultivators were blocked. The enemy did not care whether they could kill them or not. They only wanted to delay them so that Xian Hualong could kill all the disciples of the crazy sect and lure Yi Qinghan out. Nangong Powu moved as fast as lightning, holding the golden spear in his hand, heading straight for the battlefield of the Guangzhong sect. An evil smile appeared on his face. No one stopped him, allowing him to quickly approach the battlefield. Xian Hualong, isn't it a bit inappropriate to bully the juniors of the insane sect? A majestic voice echoed outside the immemorial battlefield. It contained terrifying laws, and even the will of the world was controlled by it. Nangong Powu's spear pierced through the sky and attacked Xian Hualong. Xian Hualong frowned. He didn't know Nangong Powu. Nangong Powu's real body was in seclusion in the insane sect, and he only had one clone. He wasn't strong enough to attract Xian Hualong's attention. However, the current Nangong Powu was enough to injure him. He could only give up on killing Li Jiuchong and the others. He took a step back and stared at the incoming Nangong Powu. "Who are you? Don't meddle in my business." Xian Hualong shouted coldly. "Meddle? I'm the eldest senior brother of the insane sect, Xian Hualong. You better piss off or don't blame me for being impolite." Nangong Powu raised his eyebrows and blocked Xian Hualong's path. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi had been teleported to the Celestial Sea. Logically speaking, it was impossible for them to come back. They would sink to the bottom of the sea and turn into stone statues. Apart from Zaikan, no one knew that Nangong Powu was the traitor. Many of the insane school's disciples were peerless geniuses with extraordinary willpower, such as Di Longtian and Huang Xiaohu. Nangong Powu wanted to take them as his followers. Xian Hualong was stunned. Then, he sneered and summoned his natal divine weapon, the dragon-transforming boxing glove, and put it on. He looked at Nangong Powu indifferently and said coldly, "Since you're also from the crazy sect, you can die with them." Boom! The profound transformation dragon iron fist emitted a bright light, and with a monstrous flame, it directly blasted towards Nangong Powu. Sky-piercing golden spear. Swish, 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 Nangong Powu became one with his spear. He spun at high speed, piercing through the dome of heaven. The void was distorted like a black hole. His speed was extremely fast. Boom! The dragon-transforming boxing glove and the golden spear collided. The ear-piercing sound of the collision caused Di Longtian and the others to frantically retreat. Blood spurted out from their 7 orifices as they looked at Nangong Powu in shock. How can his battle strength be so strong? Didn't he follow Master to the Qinghuang Mountain Star Field? Li Jiuchong murmured in shock. This, Huang Xiaohu was also shocked. He had never seen a person's battle strength increase so much in just 2 months. Di Longtian frowned. Although he was young, he was a meticulous person. He noticed the problem. Yi Qinghan did not know Nangong Powu's cultivation technique. The parrot had followed Yi Qinghan since it was young. It knew how many feathers Yi Qinghan had. When Nangong Powu attacked, it felt something was wrong. "Go. Leave this place," the parrot hurriedly said to Di Longtian. Swish, swish, swish. Di Longtian and the others did not even look at them. They trusted the parrot's judgment and directly fled. Nangong Powu and Xian Hualong fought to the death. Xian Hualong was almost suppressed. Nangong Powu was extremely powerful. Every attack was a killing move that could destroy heaven and earth. Xian Hualong clenched his fist. He felt that his dragon transformation glove was about to shatter. Blood flowed from his hand. He was shocked and murmured, "This is impossible. How can you be Yi Qinghan's disciple? It doesn't matter whether I am or not. Today I will bury you." Nangong Po laughed evilly and said hoarsely, "I want to thank you for giving me a chance to make a contribution. So I will let you go quickly." Path of crippled man style. Hua. Nangong Po turned into a golden dragon spear. It pierced through the clouds and shattered mountains and rivers. The golden spear was like a poisonous dragon that could drill through and kill all experts. Dragon transformation style. This was Xian Hualong's strongest move. He turned his battle body into a dragon and attacked Nangong Po. However, Nangong Po suddenly changed his move. It was smooth and flawless. Path of crippled martial style. Swish, a long rainbow shot out from the golden dragon's body. It pierced through the stars and rushed into the depths of the eternal battlefield. Boom! Xian Hualong's golden body was torn apart. His blood dyed the sky. His vitality was instantly destroyed. The head disciple of the Profound Gate was a top-tier existence in the entire boundless universe. However, he was killed by Nangong Po in the blink of an eye. The entire eternal battlefield was shaken. Many people crazily rushed into the battlefield. Xian Hualong's body fell to the ground. A huge hole appeared in his chest. His heart was crushed into nothingness. Death Qi filled the air. His eyes were filled with shock before he died. Nangong Po sneered. The golden spear in his hand didn't lose a single drop of blood. It directly pierced through the clouds and chased after Di Longtian and Li Jiuchong. 1,000 miles away, Li Jiuchong and the others arrived at a mountain range. They leaned against the mountain and panted. "That bastard is problematic. He uses the path of crippled martial, which is a mortal enemy of the path of divine martial." The parrot was furious. Yi Qinghan left with Nangong Po. Now that Nangong Po had returned and was so powerful, where did Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi go? Did something happen to Master? Li Jiuchong tensed up and asked nervously. Something must have happened. Otherwise, he would have returned long ago. But now I can be sure that he's not dead. Otherwise, I would be dead too. The parrot whispered. It suddenly looked up at the void and saw Nangong Po rushing over. It immediately said, "Don't expose him later. Let him be smug for now. When this divine bird finds a chance, I'll kill him." Soon, Nangong Po landed in front of a group of juniors and said with a sad face, "Fortunately, my junior brothers are fine. Otherwise, how could I face Master in the future? Senior brother Po, where is Master and senior sister Emperor Yi? Didn't you leave with them?" Li Jiuchong frowned and asked. Nangong Po sighed and said with heartache, "Master and Emperor Yi worked together to fight Zhe Kan and Shao Worcester's traitor, Jian Shui. Unfortunately, the difference in cultivation is too great. They have been teleported to the depths of the ultimate sky sea. Master sent me out before he left and told me to come back and take good care of the Guangzhou." The parrot hid in Di Longtian's arms and didn't dare to show its head. It was afraid that it would arouse Nangong Po's suspicion. Li Jiuchong and the others clenched their fists. Hostility flashed in their eyes, but it quickly disappeared. If they fought Nangong Po now, they would definitely die. In the depths of the ultimate sky sea, Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi were creating their own dual cultivation method. Their battle strength recovered very quickly and their cultivation was also rising rapidly. On this day, Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi once again merged into one. Both of their true ether surged and roared, breaking through the shackles. They finally reached the peak of their combat ability. Their dragon blood was pure, and their source body of the Great Path was even purer. The two of them improved at the same speed, and they both entered the third tier of the Celestial Gate. As their cultivation increased, the effect of the ultimate sky sea's shackles on Emperor Yi became smaller and smaller. However, she still couldn't sense the shore of the ultimate sky sea and didn't dare to take the risk. Once she fell into the ultimate sky sea, even the great emperor wouldn't be able to save her. Over the past few days, Yi Qinghan and Ren Huangyi had raced against time to cultivate diligently. After cultivating diligently, Ren Huangyi's youthful appearance had faded. He had become wholly, mature, and naturally charming. Yi Qinghan had also benefited greatly. His battle prowess had more than doubled when he was at the same level as Yi Qinghan. Now that the two of them were working together, they would definitely not be forced to retreat by Zhe Kan. On this day, Yi Qinghan stared at the ultimate sky sea. He was very anxious and wanted to go back immediately. Master, wait until we reach another cultivation level. Maybe we can sense the shore. Emperor Yi saw that Yi Qinghan was worried about the Kuang Zone and comforted him. Yi Qinghan embraced the soft Emperor Yi and carried her back to the cave. Once again, they became one, and their yin and yang became one, breaking through the shackles. His soul was at a high level of tranquility, and his understanding of the rules and secret techniques had reached the pinnacle. The little person in Yi Qinghan's sea of consciousness was constantly cultivating the secret technique. Ultimate Emperor returning to origin, Emperor Heavenly Descent. Every time he used his strength, his understanding of the secret technique deepened. Gradually, Yi Qinghan fell into an epiphany. His body was subconsciously rushing forward. His eyes were clear and empty. The pages of the Divine Martial Imperial Codex in his consciousness were flipping. Divine Martial Arts Chapter, Rainbow Piercing the Sun and Moon, Space Escape Technique. At this moment, his soul was highly focused. He could use the minor divine martial arts of truth after reading it once. Their souls were as one. Without speaking, they could feel the secret techniques in each other's consciousness. The two of them formed a resonance. At this moment, whatever Yi Qinghan knew, Emperor Yi would automatically comprehend. As for whatever Emperor Yi knew, as long as it wasn't the Guqin, he could cultivate it. Moreover, his cultivation speed was extremely fast. He didn't need to comprehend it. Sky-severing hand, 9 stars chasing moon stacked explosion technique Yi Qinghan evolved in his consciousness. Sky-severing hand broke the firmament. Due to the high consumption of his soul, Yi Qinghan's battle strength was undergoing an earth-shattering change. At this moment, he couldn't feel the exhaustion of his soul at all. After a long time, Yi Qinghan and Emperor Ye's soul trembled. Their senses had reached their limit. Both of them welcomed the impact. In the end, they collapsed on the quilt and hugged each other to sleep. In the immemorial battlefield, Nangong Powu was sweeping through with a few juniors. After seeing Zhe Kan, his eyes were filled with warning. Obviously, as long as Zhe Kan dared to betray him, he would have a good reason to attack and wouldn't be punished by the sect. Zhe Kan laughed mockingly. He didn't want to fall out with Nangong Powu. After all, Nangong Powu was the direct descendant of the founder of the path of martial arts. At this moment, Zi Tian and Mu Yu Tianchen were the first to catch up to Di Long Tian. When they saw that it was Nangong Powu, they frowned and asked seriously, "Nangong Powu, where is Brother Yi?" Master and Emperor Yi died in battle. Before they left, they handed the insane sect to me. From today onwards, I will be the sect master of the insane sect. I hope you can assist me. Nangong Powu sighed and said in a deep voice. The expressions of Zi Tian and the others changed drastically. Yi Qinghan had always been the backbone of the Kuang sect, and Emperor Yi had the celestial Guqin crimson demon physique, which was the physique of an ancient Ren Huang. How could he die in battle? Chapter 319. Whoosh. At least a dozen experts from the eternal battlefield arrived near Zi Tian and the others. Bullshit. How could Qinghan die in battle? Also, Nangong Powu, with your battle strength, you were able to kill Xian Hualong. Looks like you're not simple. Sikong Qingjun stepped out from the void and looked at Nangong Po coldly with suspicion in his eyes. Martial Uncle Sikong, I respect you as a senior, but this is a matter of the insane sect. If you have doubts, you can leave the insane sect. You can investigate me. Nangong Po pretended to be sad and said solemnly. Is there any evidence to prove that Brother Yi handed the insane sect to you? Muyo Tianqian frowned and asked. No, it happened so suddenly. My master died very quickly. He only gave me a verbal order. Po hopes that you can unite and help me strengthen the Kuang sect and avenge my master, Nangong Po said in a deep voice. You don't have the final say in this matter. First, tell me, who killed Qin Han and Emperor Yi? How did they die? Why can you escape but they can't? Could it be that your battle strength has surpassed your master? Sikong Qingjuan's face was full of doubt and murderous intent as he angrily rebuked. Martial Uncle Sikong, what do you mean? You want to seize control of the insane sect? You and Honorable Master are just good friends, so please conduct yourself with dignity and don't sow discord. My crazy school brothers will not be confused by your nonsense. Nangong Po launched an attack in advance, verbally attacking Sikong Qingjun. Sikong Qingjuan's breath stagnated and his hand sank. He held the Thunder God Golden Jade Rod in his hand and was about to attack. What? You want to kill the sect master of the insane sect? If you dare to attack, I will order the elders of the insane sect to kill you. Nangong Po said coldly. Boom. Whoosh. 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 Since when did a junior like you have the right to speak in the insane sect? Ordering the elders of the insane sect to kill the elders? That depends on whether you are qualified or not. Gu Qingyu appeared in front of everyone with a golden sword in his hand. Jian Qinxue had also returned from the boundless space. She had undergone earth-shattering changes. Her cultivation level had directly charged to the 6th level of the Immortal Gate. However, the sense of danger she gave off was not inferior to that of a divine martial expert. It's martial Uncle Gu and Sister Shui. The disciples of the crazy sect were overjoyed. Jian Qinxue had watched some of them grow up and trusted her as much as she trusted Emperor Yi. Jian Qinxue was like a snow woman, pure and flawless. He looked at the experts gathering on the battlefield. The crazy sect's juniors were too weak. Once the battle started, the aftershocks would easily hurt them. He said to Gu Qingyu, fellow Taoist, please deal with this matter. I will bring Jiu Chong and the others back to the crazy sect. Whoosh! Jian Qinxue waved her hand, and a huge snow dragon appeared in the sky. It wrapped around Li Jiuchong, Di Longtian, and the others, bringing them all back to the insane sect. A day later, the group returned to the crazy sect. Hey, little beauty, quickly go to the immemorial battlefield. There is something wrong with that Nangong Po. He is using the martial path. He is very likely a traitor of the Owl Warstar. Moreover, my master is not dead. Otherwise, I would be dead. The parrot crawled out of Di Longtian's arms and hurriedly reminded. Jian Qinxue tipped her toes and rushed to the immemorial battlefield. In the immemorial battlefield, Nangong Po and Gu Qingyu were ready to fight. However, there were too many experts of hidden sects gathered there, waiting for the right opportunity. Gu Qingyu endured it. Nangong Po, follow me back to the crazy sect. When I find out the truth, I will clear your name. Gu Qingyu said coldly. I am the sect master of the crazy sect now. Why are you investigating me? Nangong Po asked aggressively. With the sword in my hand. If you are not a traitor, you better come with me. Otherwise, the next time we meet, I will take your life. Gu Qingyu's eyes flashed coldly. Zaken smiled evilly and stood with his sword. He now hoped that the people of the crazy sect would fight with Nangong Po so that he could reap the benefit. Si Wuxia's eyes shot out rays like the scorching sun. His golden blood suppressed the heavens as he stepped out aggressively. He clenched his iron fist and said eerily, Nangong Po, I don't care if what you said is true or false. I just want to know where Master and Senior Sister are now. If they are dead, who killed them? If you don't tell me the truth, I will open your head and see what you are thinking. A group of ignorant people. If Master was still alive, wouldn't he be bitterly disappointed if he saw you attacking me? Nangong Powu was still quibbling. Who are the ignorant people? Everyone can see that your battle strength is even higher than Master's. If you and Senior Sister work together, who can kill you? Moreover, Master has 3 Emperor weapons and the 10,000 Buddha pagoda. Unless a quasi-emperor has an emperor weapon, no one can hurt you. Si Wuxia asked coldly. If it is really a quasi-emperor with an emperor weapon, then tell us the name and we will know after we investigate. 3 emperor weapons and a pseudo-extreme emperor weapon? Everyone gasped. Apart from the people inside the Kuang sect, no one else knew about this. Even Nangong Powu did not know. A flaw was revealed. Nangong Powu became silent because he could not lie anymore. Where is Yi Qinghan? Hand him over to me. How dare he snatch the emperor weapon of my Diwu clan? He must have eaten a leopard's guts. A terrifying aura broke the tense atmosphere on the eternal battlefield. A figure descended. He was as handsome as jade and had the demeanor of a young great emperor. He was from the Diwu clan, but no one knew him. He looked very young. However, no one knew which era he was from. Judging from the aura he emitted, he was definitely very ancient. So ancient that even a quasi-emperor might not be as old as him. Diwu Tianhe followed behind the young man, not daring to overtake him. Everyone was shocked and vigilant. They had never seen such a terrifying young generation. Qitian Monkey King, Long Qiong, Yang Zhan, and the others narrowed their eyes. Their fighting spirit was high, but they had no intention of attacking. If they attacked now, both sides would be injured. Whoever launched a sneak attack would die on the spot. Gu Qingyu moved the hilt of his sword. The elders and friends of the Kuang sect all gathered together, ready for the big battle. Xia Ziluo also came. When she saw that the other party was looking for Yi Qinghan, she couldn't help but sneer. When the dead spirits were born, you all curled up in your lairs like dogs. When the dead spirits are destroyed, you all want to jump out like worms and shout. Do you think you can prove your Tao? I am just a little girl. What's more, you are recognized by the heavenly Tao. This time, Xia Ziluo attacked all the reclusive wealthy families, which immediately attracted the disgust and hostility of many people. You are courting death. The young man from the Diwu clan unleashed his aura, causing most of the experts to retreat. Only a few ultimate experts stood in the center of the battlefield, but they were all very vigilant. Yes, you are courting death. Can you kill me? Xia Ziluo's 10 fingers reached into the sky, sucking away the spiritual qi within 1,000 miles. The giant hand that covered the sky shattered the firmament and directly grabbed at the 2 people from the Diwu clan. She was extremely powerful. Her Tao-proving aura surpassed the elites of the same level. Even Qitian Monkey King and the others blushed with shame. No one had a good impression of these reclusive wealthy families, but they didn't say it out loud. Only Xia Ziluo dared to say it. Boom! The firmament kept collapsing as the giant hand pressed down. The spiritual qi gathered into the 8 trigrams true dragon and kept surging towards Xia Ziluo. Purple qi came from the east and gathered on the ancient battlefield. Xia Ziluo was like a war immortal, above all creatures. Heaven-destroying technique? The young man from the Diwu clan raised his eyebrows and waved his hand. Even if he didn't rely on the heavenly scripture of the Tao Si, he could still overturn heaven and earth. Whoosh! One side of the battlefield turned heaven and earth upside down. The terror was monstrous. Everyone was shocked. This person was definitely a Tao-proving aura. With a wave of his hand, he was full of majesty. Overturning heaven and earth. Boom! Heaven and earth converged with a magnificent aura. Vast and boundless spiritual qi swept through time and space, majestic and majestic. The momentum was full of dominance. Crack, 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 the void kept collapsing. Xia Ziluo's attack instantly collided with that terrifying existence. Heaven and earth cracked, the earth turned upside down, and everyone retreated. How dare a speck of light compete with the bright moon? Wait until you break through the 9th layer of the celestial gate before you talk to me. Get lost. The terrifying existence from the Diwu clan's words were full of dominance. He struck out with both palms, and his combat power erupted to the extreme. The power of the 9th layer of the celestial gate was enough to instantly suppress a mid-level existence of the divine martial realm. Boom! The giant hand collapsed and turned into nothingness. Xia Ziluo retreated several steps and leaned against Kuang Zong. Her face was a little pale, and a terrifying light shot out from her eyes. Then, she closed her eyes tightly and formed a seal with her palms. Purple chi wrapped around her, and a huge 8 trigrams formation appeared in front of her chest. It spun at a high speed and almost made her explode. Xia Qiue's pupils shrank. She stepped forward and pressed her shoulder, saying in a low voice, "Stop fooling around. Even if you kill him, you won't be able to live. Father has already left. You have to think about the big picture." The young man from the Diwu clan stepped back slightly. He squinted at Xia Ziluo and said lightly, "The purple chi celestial spirit body is indeed domineering. However, your realm is a little low. Otherwise, you could really compete with me." Xia Ziluo was silent. A defeat was a defeat, but it didn't affect her Dao heart. In order to prove her Dao, her willpower was probably not inferior to Yi Qinghan's. Gu Qingyu's left hand moved the hilt of his sword, and the divine sword was unsheathed. He said to the young man from the Diwu clan, "Yi Qinghan is my brother. Now that he's not here, you can talk to me." Kuang Zong? If you're not from the Kuang Zong, then stand aside. This matter has nothing to do with you. A murderous intent flashed in the eyes of the young man from the Diwu clan. He was incomparably domineering. He said in a cold voice, "I'll let you know when you die. I'm the younger brother of the Diwu Great Emperor Diwu Shenkuang. In the name of the Great Emperor, I sentence you all to death." Everyone was shocked. The younger brother of the Diwu Great Emperor, Diwu Shenkuang, was a legend when he was young. However, when the Diwu Great Emperor was even stronger, and with the advantage of his age, it was already set in stone that he would prove his Dao. In the end, Diwu Shenkuang was sealed by the great perfection boundary emperor of the clan. Who would have thought that he would appear today? Even if the Diwu Great Emperor's young battle prowess reappeared, he wouldn't dare to say that he could kill me. "If you want to fight, I'll fight with you." Gu Qingyu pointed his long sword at Diwu Shenkuang. His cold sword Dao merged with his person, turning into a giant sword that reached the sky. Chapter 320. Gu Qingyu was strong, and so was the 5th mad god. Neither of them wanted to be weak, and a great battle was about to break out. More and more people gathered, and the experts of the hidden clans increased as well. It was almost a one-sided battle. In addition, the experts of the 10,000 races couldn't form a united front with the crazy sect, causing the situation to worsen. Nangong Powu was actually watching from the sidelines. His intention was clear. He didn't admit that he was the leader of the crazy sect, and he didn't want to meddle in other people's business. This made the crazy sect even angrier, and they became more and more suspicious of him. Whoosh! Heavy snow fell from the sky. The eternal battlefield was no longer a battlefield or a hell on earth. The snow grew heavier and heavier, burying the corpses and blood. It was like a fairyland. No one moved. They just looked up at the sky. A white figure was covered by the snow, and it was approaching rapidly. Jian Qinshu landed and stepped on a dead weed. He stared at Nangong Po. He was too worried about Yi Qinghan's situation, so he didn't hesitate and asked directly, "Nangong Po, you are the inheritor of the brutal martial path. You are the traitor of Shao Zhanxing. Where are Brother Qinhan and my son? Nangong Powu was stunned. He didn't expect Jian Chenxue to be so sure of his identity. The corner of his mouth rose slightly as he said lightly, "He is dead. Just like Emperor Yi, he will never appear again." Crack, the crazy sect was furious. They clenched their fists and ignited the flames of the battlefield. Kill! Swish! 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 Dozens of people fought in the eternal battlefield. Even Heavenly Monkey King and Long Qiong joined the battle. Even if the crazy sect loses and dies, they can only lose to us and die in our hands. You so-called hidden clans only know how to hide in the face of a strong enemy. What right do you have to prove your Tao and behave so atrociously? Heavenly Monkey King's fighting spirit soared to the sky. He turned into a golden body and swept in all directions, stopping the fifth mad god in advance. His battle rod was towering, suppressing all the heroes. No one dared to interfere in the battlefield near him. Gu Qingyu attacked Nangong Powu directly, trying to find Yi Qinghan's whereabouts. Boom! The Aeon battlefield became an iron-blooded battlefield for the younger generation to prove their Tao and become emperors. It became hell on earth. Even emperors were worthless, and one of them would fall in an instant. Fake emperor weapons appeared continuously, radiating light in all directions, almost wiping out the periphery of the Aeon battlefield. Fortunately, they still had some self-awareness and didn't dare to enter the depths to cause a ruckus. Otherwise, these people would have been torn apart alive by the Emperor runes. Muyu Tianchen and Nangong Qingyue were now challenging the fifth ravine, suppressing him until he was forced to retreat. The sun and moon pierced through the river of stars, heavy snow swirled in the air, and the phenomenon of heaven and earth was peerlessly terrifying. This was the first time Jian Chenxue had used her full strength since her debut. The icy aura had frozen the king-level expert's body, directly destroying part of his soul and finding Zhikan. Now that she had obtained the inheritance and refinement of human Emperor Xianyuan, her battle strength was terrifying, far surpassing the younger generation. After experiencing a few battles of life and death, she would definitely have the bearing of an emperor. The remaining 5 cultivators of the Xian sect all appeared. They charged at Nangong Powu crazily and killed each other. They wanted to avenge Xian Hualong. In the end, Gu Qingyu and Nangong Powu didn't want anyone to interfere in their battle, so they directly killed all 5 of the Xian sect's cultivators and fought again. The heavenly dragon roared. Long Qiong transformed into a huge dragon and swept towards Xin Quebec. Emperor descends. Xin Kei's palms formed a seal. The huge, illusory figure was like an emperor descending. It controlled the heaven and earth, fighting against the heaven and earth as it pressed down on Long Qiong. Si Wuxie also killed his way into the crowd. As long as he saw someone from a hidden sect, he would kill them. However, there were too many hidden sects cultivators. They were clearly divided into 2 camps. Moreover, there were many hidden sects cultivators who hadn't shown themselves yet. This is really heated. How can my Yinyang school be missing? A voice roared in the void. 8 figures appeared, and the battlefield immediately quieted down. The great battles separated and looked at the 8 cultivators with vigilance. The chief disciples of the Yinyang 8 schools had all arrived. There were a total of 9 of them. One of them represented the Yinyang school's headquarters. Everyone's combat strength was top-notch. Their appearance was enough to change the situation of the battle. If they worked together, they could even kill most of the cultivators here. Even Monkey King Qitian and Diwu Quangshan wouldn't be spared. The chief disciples' names were very uniform. Their clothes were also the same. Only the embroidery was different. Gold, wood, water, fire, earth, thunder, yin, and yang were clearly embroidered on their shoulders. The 9 of them clearly represented the Yinyang 8 schools and the headquarters. Yinyang Feng, make your stance clear first. Zhikan obviously knew the people of the Yinyang school. He immediately said coldly. Of course, we'll kick out these arrogant princes and saints first. Then, we'll decide the victor. A cultivator stepped forward. He was Enyang Feng, a direct disciple of the Enyang school's headquarters. Regardless of whether his combat strength was the strongest, his status was the highest. The people of the Enyang 8 schools had to give him face. Besiege? Are you bullying me with numbers? Xia Qiue frowned. If they continued fighting like this, the hidden cultivators would easily wipe out the disciples on the surface. Then let's fight one-on-one. We'll fight to the death until none of you can fight. Enyang Feng was arrogant. He didn't put these so-called princes and saints in his eyes at all. All the princes were silent. They were too few in number. They didn't even have 1/10 of the opponent. If they fought on the eternal battlefield, they would obviously be at a disadvantage. They could only retreat to the sovereign domain and summon all the heroes who were still in seclusion. They might have a chance to win, but the chances were very slim. No one dared to say that they would be unstoppable. Heavenly Monkey King, Fifth Violent God, Zhakan, Nangong Powu, Gu Qingyu, and Jian Qinshue didn't dare to have such strong confidence. At this time, whoever was more powerful would die the earliest. Go to the sovereign domain. I'll play with you. Zhang Ge was the first to express his stance. He was a Dao realm cultivator of the Zhan family. He naturally knew that a portion of the super-existences of the sacred grounds hadn't awakened yet. At this time, they should also make a move. The people of the Enyang 8 schools mocked. Someone mocked, "Don't tell me you want to borrow the power behind your family? Your people have already been crippled by the dead spirit. You still want to show off? It's better for them to die standing than for you to drag out an ignoble existence." Xia Ziluo replied coldly. The people of the hidden aristocratic families sneered. They were completely indifferent, but their killing intent had already been set. You have so many people and so many families. Are you still afraid of the Dao realm's sacred grounds? Or are you all sore losers? Xia Qiue used provocation. She was afraid that they would swarm over. What a joke. Do you think we're afraid of you? If your family has someone who has been sealed for thousands of years, you might be able to make do with it. Otherwise, with just you? You'd better go home and find a woman to have children with. What does the matter of corroborating the Tao have to do with you? A king of a hidden aristocratic family mocked disdainfully. He didn't care about Long Qiong and Yang Zhan, who had the bearing of an emperor. Then let's go. When we meet in the sovereign domain, we'll fight to the death. Gu Qingyu indicated for the people behind him to retreat. He still held his sword vigilantly. Heavenly Monkey King and the others brought up the rear. Only when all the experts retreated did they turn around and leave. In absolute heaven ocean, the ocean water roared. The tide actually rose, drowning a portion of the island and almost closing in on the cave. Yi Qinghan looked across the ocean. It was vast and he couldn't see the end or the beginning. He felt like this absolute heaven ocean was in another space. The ocean water retreated. The forest was petrified and the waterfall was frozen. They all turned into white stone. This absolute heaven ocean was really devoid of life. Master, look at that fish. It actually wasn't petrified. Emperor Yi pointed at the bottom of the stream. There was a weird wolffish struggling. It wanted to charge out of the confinement of the petrified water. Yi Qinghan was delighted. This was the first time he discovered that there was actually a living being that was immune to the absolute heaven-ocean water. After a long while, all the ocean water retreated. Yi Qinghan carried violent craze and walked out of the cave. He realized that the petrified rocks all had the ability to petrify. It suppressed his azure dragon bloodline, and his true essence was rapidly decreasing. Hong! Yi Qinghan slashed out 4 times. It was as fast as lightning. It directly cut open the rocks and took out the wolffish. He realized that its life force was not affected by the absolute heaven-ocean water at all. What a strange fish! The blood in its body must be a treasure that can restrain the absolute heaven-ocean water. Yi Qinghan was excited. If he could extract the element that could restrain the absolute heaven-ocean water from the wolf-fish's body, then he would have a better chance of leaving absolute heaven-ocean. Yi Qinghan cut open the wolf-fish and gathered all the blood into the stone pot. He summoned the fire origin with both of his palms and roasted the blood, making it boil. His divine sense wandered around the blood, looking for rare mineral elements. Emperor Yi came to Yi Qinghan's side. His divine sense was also looking for rare element. Before, no one had ever found an element that could restrain the absolute heaven-ocean water. This meant that this element had never been discovered before. There were not many of these elements. Very quickly, Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi found a colorless element. It was very rare, and when it came out from the blood, it was filled with a dazzling white light. It was incomparably holy. Yi Qinghan stretched out his hand and grasped this element. He had never seen it before. He frowned and asked in astonishment, "Is this the legendary light origin?" Emperor Yi shook his head. The light origin had always been a legend. Even the great emperors had never found it. This kind of thing was even rarer than divine dragons and phoenixes. Divine beasts like divine dragons had at least appeared in the Savage Era. However, the light origin had never appeared in the world. Everyone knew that there must be a light element, but no one had ever found it. If it is the light origin, then why is it in its body? This kind of creature doesn't seem like a light-type divine beast. Yi Qinghan was puzzled. He wanted to figure out what this thing was. It took the initiative to absorb this element into its body. Once the element entered its body, its entire body felt warm. It suppressed and tempered its true essence. Its entire body was filled with strength. The wood origin and metal origin were both crazily growing. Only the dark element was resisted and suppressed. It was too rare, so rare that it could be ignored. After the dark element was suppressed, it quickly counterattacked and completely suppressed that trace of element, causing it to disappear without a trace. This is indeed the light origin. It is incompatible with the dark element and can also help other origins. It is definitely a supreme treasure. The God Martial Emperor Code suddenly had a reaction. It flipped to a page and 2 lines of words appeared. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed. Since this light element could appear in the wolffish's stomach, it meant that it existed on this island. If he could find it and merge it into his body, then his 9-revolution Dao body would be more or less complete. If yin and yang could become one, then light and darkness could become one. Yi Qinghan did not believe that he could not merge the light element. The most important thing now was to find the light origin. Master, look at the stream. It is changing back. Emperor Yi was overjoyed. He pointed at the pool and realized that the waterfall was also squirming. It could break free at any time. Chapter 321. Yi Qinghan gazed at the bottom of the pool where the spring water was constantly churning. The color of the water became transparent, and that kind of dazzling light was very intense. It was as if there were countless small suns churning in the pool. The light elements kept breaking through the petrification of the absolute sky sea. Yi Qinghan was very curious about what was in the water of the absolute sky sea that could actually block the heaven and earth Dao techniques and petrify the Dao bodies of cultivators. Even quasi-emperors and great emperors could not escape from the shackles. Soon, the entire island was restored to its original state as if it had never been submerged. The light elements all retreated and rushed towards the bottom of the stream. Yi Qinghan jumped in without hesitation and followed the light elemental down. He discovered that this pool was extraordinarily deep. After descending for over 30 meters, he was met with a biting cold that froze his heart. Even his own dragon blood was suppressed by the cold. True essence flowed slowly, and a layer of ice adhered to the surface of his skin. Yi Qinghan activated the azure dragon body and shook off the layer of ice as he continued to dive. After diving for an unknown amount of time, Yi Qinghan kept following the light elements and did not get lost. He remembered the direction and finally arrived at the bottom. He realized that the ground was not filled with rocks and soil, but with a layer of enchantment. It was a completely different world. Yi Qinghan flickered and touched the enchantment with his big hand. He realized that the enchantment had no effect on him and immediately entered the space below. The spiritual qi in the space was almost solid. The light in the space was so intense that it was hard for people to open their eyes. It was not suitable for humans to live here for a long time. The trees here were incomparably thick. It was unknown how long they had lived here, as if they had existed since ancient times. A small stream flowed downwards, and no one knew where it flowed to. Many wolffish cruised around and jumped up from time to time before following the flow of the stream downward. Yi Qinghan held the heavy wild blade tightly and sped up along the stream. The light elements suddenly accelerated and gathered towards a tall mountain. The spiritual qi took the initiative to drill into Yi Qinghan's body. The true essence in his qi sea churned and filled his entire qi sea. It was like a real sea, vast and boundless. It flowed along his blood vessels to his limbs and bones, tempering his Tao body. Other than the dark elements, all the other elements in his body went crazy and became increasingly pure. His vitality and qi was exuberant to the extreme. Sha sha sha. Yi Qinghan stepped on the gravel and sped along. Yi Qinghan ran for an entire hour before arriving at the foot of the mountain. He was shocked to discover that there were stone men standing proudly at the foot of the mountain. Someone actually made it here and was petrified. Yi Qinghan's pupils suddenly shrank. He vigilantly looked at the mountain range in front of him. He felt a divine sense lock onto him, and his hair stood on end. Sha sha sha. The crisp sound of footsteps approached from afar. Yi Qinghan could feel his blood boiling and his fire essence burning. The burning pain all over his body caused him to frown and retreat continuously. His dragon blood burned and his vitality burned. The azure dragon body became extremely weak. The metal origin circulated crazily and constantly tempered his body. The stronger his body became, the more horrified Yi Qinghan was. This was because it was useless. The newcomer was too strong and could mobilize his qi and blood. At this moment, he could feel how weak he was. He was so weak that the opponents could crush him. Soon, a young girl appeared in his line of sight. She looked very young and was as pure as a gem without any flaws. However, her eyes were tightly shut, just like Emperor Yi from before. She wore a very ancient robe that was indiscernible from its era. After so long, another greedy human has come here. I didn't expect it to be immortal. The young girl's voice was like the sound of nature, but it was also deadly. It shocked Yi Qinghan. An expert of the immortal realm and an invincible king was actually immortal in her eyes. Who wasn't immortal? Wasn't the great emperor? This little one is Yi Qinghan. I came here by accident and didn't mean to offend Fairy. I hope Fairy won't take offense. Yi Qinghan bowed slightly. There were no distracting thoughts in his eyes. He didn't dare to reveal any evil thoughts. Even if the woman in front of him was so perfect that she was even more attractive than Emperor Yi. Fairy. Kakik, this is the first time I've been called that. In the past, I've always been called a demoness. Mortals will always be mortals. You're much more fun than those great emperors who think they're superior because of their cultivation. The young girl wasn't shy at all. She stepped on a leaf and curiously sized up Yi Qinghan with her divine sense as if she was looking at a pet. Yi Qinghan's mouth twitched. He thought to himself, she actually met the great emperor. How long has she been in this space? Is her lifespan eternal? Are you afraid of me? Don't be. You'll be like them. You'll become a stone statue here and add an accessory to the divine nether space. The young girl smiled, revealing a row of pure white teeth. She didn't care about Yi Qinghan's life at all. She only treated him as a pet. Yi Qinghan was bleeding profusely. He couldn't control the dragon blood at all. His skin exploded and dragon scales fell from his body. The tearing pain made his face contort. "Play with me first. Tell me, are the humans outside still greedy?" the young girl asked curiously. Yi Qinghan frowned and clenched his fist. His heavy berserk blade was almost twisted out of shape. He said with a hoarse voice, "Senior, the human race is very united now. In order to protect their people, they're willing to give up their lives. Why is Senior so hostile to the human race?" The young girl raised her eyebrows, revealing a trace of disdain. She then said, "Mortal, would you die for the human race? If necessary, I'm willing to fight to the death." Yi Qinghan clenched his teeth and looked at the young girl in front of him. He realized that she didn't have any feelings for the human race. Her hatred for the human race came from her bones. "Kakik, foolish mortal. Tell me, what's the purpose of your cultivation?" the young girl mocked. To protect my family, protect the people I love, and protect the helpless living beings." Yi Qinghan replied without hesitation. "Protect? Ha ha. That's the same answer as those great emperors. Unfortunately, they didn't give me the answer I wanted at the last moment. In the end, they all turned into stone statues." The young girl pointed at the 7 stone statues and said coldly. Yi Qinghan looked at the 7 stone statues. Their postures were very strange. They were all petrified the moment they attacked. They didn't have the chance to resist. He was shocked and muttered, "They're all great emperors? They were all petrified. How did you do it? Now you should be concerned about how to answer my question and how to give me what I want. You shouldn't be concerned about these stone statues. They're already dead. They're completely dead," the young girl said indifferently. "Senior, what do you want to know?" Yi Qinghan frowned. He realized that this young girl might not be human. He was very vigilant. "I won't ask first. If you help me kill someone, I'll let you go and protect your family." The young girl waved her hand. Suddenly, a person appeared in the space. It was actually Emperor Yi. Emperor Ye's throat was grabbed. The Shun Qin retreated into his body and he fainted. It turned out that Emperor Yi was worried that Yi Qinghan would be in danger. He directly jumped into the pool and dove down. The Shun Qin was also held in his arms to block the cold. She also entered the space and was instantly captured by the young girl. "If you kill her, I can spare your life. You can stay in this space with me for eternity. You can also go out and protect the people you want to protect. If you don't kill her, I'll let her kill you. If she doesn't kill you, I'll turn all of you into stone statues." The young girl's eyes flashed with a mischievous light. She smiled and said to Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan clenched his fist and glared at the young girl. He coldly said, "Let her go. No one has ever dared to speak to me like this. Not even the great emperor. You, a mere mortal, actually dared to scold me." The young girl's aura turned cold. A strand of divine sense wrapped around Yi Qinghan. She completely mobilized his blood and qi and directly tore his body apart. Blood poured out. Yi Qinghan sucked in a breath of cold air. He continuously retreated. He tried his best to control his qi and blood, but he realized that it was useless. The other party was constantly tearing his body apart. After healing it, she would tear it apart again. It was always at his heart. If he moved even a little bit, it would take his life. "What do you want? If you have something to say, just say it," Yi Qinghan coldly said. "As expected of a loving couple. You can't bear to kill her. I want to see if she can bear to kill you." Whoosh! The young girl flicked her finger and directly sealed Yi Qinghan. She awakened Emperor Yi and said indifferently, "Help me kill her and I'll let you go." Emperor Yi was shocked. He didn't even have the chance to resist in front of the other party. The other party's will was like the great emperor's will. He couldn't resist. Senior, my husband and I didn't blaspheme you. Please be magnanimous. If you need anything, just say it. Emperor Yi said solemnly. I want your eyes. Will you give them to me? I also want to see the scenery outside, the young girl said indifferently. Emperor Ye's aura stagnated. His eyes had finally recovered and he could see again. He couldn't accept that the other party wanted to take them away from him. As long as you're willing, I'll spare him, the young girl said calmly. As long as you're willing to let him go, then take them away. It doesn't matter to me whether I have eyes or not. Emperor Ye's tears flowed freely. It wasn't that he didn't want to resist, but that he couldn't. The young girl was astonished. She didn't think that the two people in front of her were so different from the humans she had imagined. She forcefully read Emperor Ye's memories and knew that he cherished his eyes. He really wanted to open his eyes. She didn't think that he would choose to give them up without hesitation. I still want your life. Is that okay? The young girl asked again. Yes. Emperor Yi clenched his fists and said hoarsely. What an interesting pair of mortals. When the great emperor found out that I wanted his eyes, he attacked me. He even wanted to invade me, steal my eyes and steal my light source. That's why they both died. The young girl said calmly, as if killing the great emperor was easy. The young girl waved her hand and undid Yi Qinghan's seal. Yi Qinghan reached out and pulled Emperor Yi behind him. He said in a low voice, We have no grievances. Please don't make things difficult for us. You can leave, but she has to stay, the young girl said coldly. No. Yi Qinghan called out the Tianwu battle sword and said coldly. If you don't leave, then stay here forever. I don't have much mercy in my heart. The young girl's killing intent flashed. She opened her eyes and directly pierced through the great emperor's stone statue. Yi Qinghan's resolute gaze didn't waver. He still stood in front of Emperor Yi and said in a low voice, You can kill my body, but you can't change my mind. Chapter 322. The killing intent in the beautiful girl's eyes enveloped Yi Qinghan. Her eyes were filled with disdain. However, she had the qualifications to be able to petrify even a great emperor. Moreover, it was unknown which era this great emperor was from. However, after the supreme ancient era, there weren't many great emperors. Yi Qinghan was on guard, but he wouldn't change his mind. It was also impossible for him to agree to keep Emperor Yi here. He even wanted to gouge out his eyes and give them to the other party. After a long time, the girl spoke in a low voice. Is the purpose of the human race's cultivation really to protect and not to plunder? I can prove it to you. The experts of the human race are all for the sake of protection. Emperor Yi said solemnly. Prove it to me. The girl said indifferently. Emperor Yi took out his divine zither and sat cross-legged on the ground. His 10 fingers strummed the zither as the majestic melody was filled with determination and solemnity. The ancient battlefield appeared once again. Countless experts were fearless as they stood at the front lines of the battlefield. The blood of great emperors splattered across the sky. Their corpses fell from the void and fell onto the stars. The buried emperor's chant resounded as a vast aura filled the entire divine nether space. The gathering of selfless experts caused grief. Countless nameless experts died without anyone knowing their names. Emperor Ye's heart and mind were as one as he merged his Tao heart into his Zither Tao, perfectly outlining the buried emperor's chant. It was able to influence the vicissitudes of life. Even the wolf fishes were swimming upstream. The girl's expression changed slightly before she calmed down. Slowly, her blood and chi were also stirred by the melody. Her blood and chi boiled as she started to dance in the air. Her ethereal and enchanting dance caused the entire space to rumble. Yi Qinghan listened to the melody and looked at the young girl's dance. He discovered that her dance wasn't just a dance, it also contained martial techniques that would cause one's heart to turn cold. Yi Qinghan automatically blocked the charm that came from his bones. His eyes widened as he stared at the young girl's dance. It was as though he could see her attacking her opponent. Although her movements looked soft and gentle, they could easily kill immortal emperors. Very quickly, Yi Qinghan imitated the girl's posture and made some slight modifications. However, the girl's movements were light, ethereal, and elegant. His movements, on the other hand, were bold and full of dominance. At the end of the song, the girl's fingers stopped moving. She was astonished to see that Yi Qinghan had not lost himself in her dance, and had instead gained an epiphany. Emperor Yi sighed and said, "Senior, there are good people in every race, but there are also greedy people. In the past, I was like you, afraid of everyone in the human race. However, after meeting Master, I realized that many people are willing to give up their lives to protect others. They do not regret dying, and they are worthy of respect." After a long while, Yi Qinghan stopped his epiphany and opened his eyes. He looked at the young girl with reverence in his eyes. Her strength had already reached the pinnacle. "Perhaps you're right. We can't generalize." The girl slowly turned around and said indifferently, "Come with me." Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi were helpless. They did not expect such an existence to exist in this space. They could only follow her. The three of them continued forward and soon arrived at a valley. The valley was penetrated by a stream. At that moment, Yi Qinghan sensed a warm elemental energy wandering around. It was the light elemental energy that he had discovered earlier. It was very dense here. After the girl entered the valley, she opened her eyes. Her performance was almost the same as Emperor Ye's earlier performance. However, her eyes were more terrifying. In the outside world, they could petrify great emperors and pierce through their stone sculptures. However, here they were crystal clear. They were like the endless universe, vast and boundless, dotted with stars. One look at them would cause one to lose their sense of direction. On one side of the valley, there were many weapons. The shiny gold was piled up like a mountain. The girl seemed to like these glowing objects and had collected many weapons. There were divine martial Dao weapons, quasi-emperor weapons, pseudo-extreme emperor weapons, and even a few extreme emperor weapons. There were hammers, axes, longbows, short swords, and even daggers. Yi Qinghan stared blankly. Any one of the treasures here could be taken out to guard an area. Especially the longbow. It radiated divinity and was rich with emperor's aura. It was obviously an emperor weapon. However, it had been conquered by the girl. It stood quietly on the spot and did not move at all. "If I use this divine bow to unleash the 9 stars chasing moon stacked explosion technique, even if it does not awaken, it can kill a great perfection divine martial realm expert with 1 arrow. Yi Qinghan muttered in his heart. However, he did not dare to touch these treasures. This girl looked peerless, but she would not be merciful when it came to killing. "You can pick one if you like, but you're only allowed to take one. If you take one more, you'll be like the stone statue outside, forever standing in this divine nether space." The young girl said to Yi Qinghan indifferently. "Thank you, Senior. If Senior likes it, I can exchange it with you. You can take whatever you like." Yi Qinghan waved his hand and countless treasures poured out of his universe ring. There were many top-grade spirit crystals that emitted a golden light. There were more than 10 luminous pearls. They were all used for illumination. They were very big and emitted a blue light. These things were practically useless to cultivators. However, the girl reached out and took all of them. With a wave of her hand, a thin string appeared in her hand. It directly pierced through the pearls and formed a necklace. She wore it around her neck and gently turned it. Yi Qinghan's heartbeat sped up when he saw it. "This is it. Put away your other junk. Don't dirty my delicate place," the girl said without any trace of politeness. Yi Qinghan was sweating profusely. He had collected a large amount of top-grade spirit crystals, and level 6 and even level 7 pills. These were all precious treasures, but in the eyes of this girl, they were just junk. This girl's standards were too high. Emperor Yi smiled. He realized that this girl was actually not that scary. She was still very pure in her bones. Yi Qinghan smiled embarrassedly. With a wave of his hand, he kept all the treasures. He walked towards the godly bough without any trace of politeness. He grabbed the bough that was half a man's height. He realized that it weighed at least 10,000 jin. When he pulled the bowstring, his azure dragon arm exploded. He could only draw a crescent shape. However, the penetrative power was absolutely terrifying. It would be easy for him to kill a 9th-stage immortal. Including this godly bow, Yi Qinghan had 4 more Apex Emperor weapons. Unfortunately, this godly bow did not seem to have a spirit. The spirit of the bow was killed by the girl and its power was reduced by half. There were pros and cons to not having a spirit of the bow. The pros were that Yi Qinghan could drip his blood on it and cultivate his own spirit of the bow. The cons were that it was not strong enough now. Yi Qinghan just dripped his blood on it and the girl said, "I will send you away. Do not resist. If you fall into the ultimate heaven sea, I will not be responsible." Yi Qinghan frowned and asked solemnly, "What about my son? You are not really planning to leave her behind, right?" "I am too bored here. She will stay with me for a period of time. When you are strong enough, you can come and pick her up. Don't worry, I will not gouge out her eyes." The girl's indifferent tone was filled with determination. There was no room for argument. This caused Yi Qinghan and Emperor Ye's expressions to change slightly. How could Yi Qinghan be at ease leaving Emperor Yi with such a temperamental creature? Just as he was about to retort, the girl said coldly, "You have to agree even if you don't want to. Otherwise, I will throw all of you into the ultimate heaven sea." Yi Qinghan's mouth twitched. This barbaric creature was truly unreasonable. Emperor Yi hurriedly pulled Yi Qinghan back and whispered, "Senior does not have any ill intentions. You should leave first. Perhaps if there is a chance, I can bring Senior to the endless universe to find you. I will allow you to choose one more thing. Once you take it, I will immediately send you away. If you do not leave after an incense stick's worth of time, I will send her to the ultimate heaven sea," the girl threatened as she pointed at Emperor Yi. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. This creature seemed to know his weakness. He had no choice but to compromise. He then looked around and searched for the light origin. This was a treasure that could help one's origin grow and increase one's perception of the great Tao and law. After searching for a long time, Yi Qinghan saw a huge bamboo forest with a courtyard surrounded by water. The scenery was so beautiful that one would not want to leave. The light origin is here. Yi Qinghan walked along the bamboo bridge to the courtyard. Just as he was about to open the door, the girl said coldly, "If you dare enter, I will kill you." Yi Qinghan scratched his head and smiled bitterly. "The thing I want is in the room. The light element?" The girl frowned and asked unhappily. "Yes. If it is not convenient for Senior, I do not want it," Yi Qinghan said when he saw how much the girl valued the light element. "I cannot give you the light element. Otherwise, this space will lose its vitality." The girl rejected without hesitation. Yi Qinghan smiled and said, "I am sorry. I did not know about this. Do you want to continue wasting time? You should know that this space is almost eternally stagnant. Every breath you take here is equivalent to a month outside." The girl reminded him coldly. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi were both shocked and worried about the Kuang sect's situation. At this moment, outside Emperor Abyss City in the Endless Universe's monarch domain, hundreds of peerless experts had set up a huge arena. Only one of them was a boundary emperor who had set up a formation. Once the formation was activated, the battle would not end until one of them was dead. The Tao Realm's sacred grounds, Sage Monarch Tribe, and Myriad Beast Imperial Tribe had lost many experts. The disciples of the hidden sects were constantly provoking the Kuang sect. If the Kuang sect did not fight, they would lose all prestige. "I represent the Kuang sect's Grand Elder. If you want to challenge me, come on up. Gu Qingyu stepped onto the battle ring with his sword in hand. He stared at the dozens of powerful experts from the secluded sects and clans across the battle ring, and said coldly. His cold aura filled the sword Dao. His battle-intent sword and killing intent radiated. I, Lei Kuang of the Yin-Yang Thunder Tribe, will kill you. Whoosh, a figure flashed by. It was a young expert of the Thunder Tribe. He exuded the profound meaning of thunder. Lightning surrounded his golden body. He was an 8th stage immortal, 3 stages higher than Gu Qingyu. His combat strength was extraordinary, but he was not the strongest of the younger generation of the Thunder Tribe. Whoosh! Lei Kuang formed a seal with his palms and mobilized the monarch domain heavenly thunder. Lightning flashed in the sky and thunder rumbled, suppressing the Dao hearts of the experts. Kill! A bolt of lightning tore through space and time and attacked Gu Qingyu like a dragon. Gu Qingyu was indifferent. His fingertips moved the scabbard and he pulled out his sword. The sword light pierced through the clouds. Before anyone could react, he had already sheathed his sword. A strand of fierce and domineering sword chi destroyed Lei Kuang's vitality. Blood flowed from his neck and his eyes were full of fear and despair. Chapter 323. This was a battle to the death. Both sides hated and looked down on each other. The active Dao realm Holy Lands and human race experts hated the hidden aristocratic clans. When the endless universe was in danger, they were afraid of death. But now they came out to fight for the fruits of victory. Hatred was inevitable. As for the hidden aristocratic clans, they were born with arrogance in their bones. They disdained these so-called princes, thinking that they were nothing more than clowns. Both sides killed. The Dao realm Holy Lands and the Saint Monarch tribe lost 14 people, while the hidden wealthy families only lost 1. Their hatred grew stronger and stronger. After the battle, Gu Qingyu left the arena. Lei Kuang's corpse was taken away, angering the Thunder God. Shua. Thunder God stepped onto the arena and looked at the people of the insane sect. He said indifferently, "The strongest of the insane sect, come up. I'll crush you to pieces." The insane sect was furious. There were many elders and protectors, all of them super experts. The Yin-Yang sect's first disciple dared to provoke them like this. "Brother, I hate it when people are arrogant in front of me. Help me kill this bastard and this divine bird will get you a good treasure." The parrot said angrily to Zetian. Zetian laughed. Although he was from a hidden family, he was someone who had experienced the defensive battle. He was not like the Yin-Yang 8. "Okay, don't worry, big brother. I'll help you tear his head off." Zetian was very strong. He stepped onto the arena and stunned Thunder God. "Zetian, aren't you from the Qilin bloodline family? Aren't you from a hidden wealthy family? Why are you helping the insane sect?" Thunder God said angrily. "Because I'm from the insane sect. Thunder God, we haven't seen each other for many years. I don't know if you can block my Qilin divine fist." Zetian's aura exploded. The Qilin bloodline was awakened, almost reaching the level of ancestral awakening. He swallowed the drop of Qilin blood essence, increasing his battle strength by several times. He clenched his fist and his blood chi suppressed Thunder God. Thunder God was shocked. He suddenly felt that his perception of the thunder origin had decreased by more than 10 times. He asked in shock, "You've reached ancestral awakening with the Qilin blood?" "Almost, but killing you is as easy as slaughtering a dog. My big brother wants me to take your life. Good luck." Crack with a crisp sound, the purple sky iron fist shattered the void. The Qilin's blood essence boiled and roared. It was as if a wild divine beast had descended. Purple light shot out from its eyes and its purple robes fluttered in the wind. With a single kick, it shook the entire arena as it attacked the Thunder God with lightning speed. Thunder God hammer. Boom! The god of thunder summoned his natal divine weapon, the divine martial weapon, the thunder god hammer, which boosted his understanding of the origin of thunder. Dark clouds rolled in the sky, and lightning flashed. A deafening thunder rumbled. The first punch, earth-shattering and heaven-shaking. Whoosh! Purple Heaven's arms were covered in purple chi. Even his immortal robes had been shattered. There was a large amount of purple scales on the iron wall, just like the arms of a Qilin. The friction between his iron fists produced flames, burning the air above the arena. The stars in the sky flickered and fluctuated continuously, as if the sea of stars was trembling. Boom! The iron fist smashed onto the thunder god's hammer, and the shockwave rushed towards the Boundary Emperor's formation. Thousands of rays of divine light shot up into the sky and attracted the attention of many strong cultivators. Even the strong cultivators of the divine martial realm were embarrassed. These young and terrifying cultivators were too powerful. It was not difficult for them to kill mid-level divine martial realm cultivators. Thud, thud, thud! The god of thunder was shocked. It was as if the hammer had smashed onto his chest. His face turned pale and his breathing stopped. The second punch, earth-shattering. Whoosh! Instead of retreating, Tian advanced. His speed was extremely fast, and his moves were as smooth as flowing water. His left hand grabbed onto the thunder god's hammer, and his right fist smashed towards the opponent's head. The god of thunder was shocked. He unleashed all his battle strength, and the space was shattered by him. However, Tian was faster than him. He followed the trajectory of the thunder god's hammer and grabbed his right hand. His left hand locked onto the god of thunder's wrist, and his right fist formed a circle and smashed towards the god of thunder's temple. The god of thunder was shocked. He realized that his right hand was caught by a dragon claw, and he could not resist at all. He could only raise his left arm and elbow Tian's fist, hoping to stop his attack. Both of them were terrifyingly powerful. Their attacks were shocking. Many people's faces twitched as they stared at the battlefield. Die! Tian was overbearing. He threw a punch and hit the god of thunder's elbow. The terrifying power smashed through the god of thunder's arm and hit his head. Gotcha! Ah! The god of thunder screamed miserably. His face was ferocious. His left arm was crippled, and his head was almost smashed out of shape. His golden body slammed into the formation, causing blood to spray out in all directions. Even his golden body was torn apart. Pooh! The god of thunder's body fell heavily onto the stage, and he almost fainted. His life force dissipated, and his battle strength decreased by more than half. Tian was too powerful. The Qilin Divine Fist had a total of 6 punches, and each punch was more terrifying than the last. The second punch caused the Enyang 8 Division's Thunder Division's head disciple to bleed. Seeing that the god of thunder was still struggling, Tian smiled. Although the iron wall was bleeding, it did not affect his battle strength. The third punch, battle the heavens and battle the earth. Roar! A huge divine beast phantom appeared behind Tian. It was one of the legendary Qilin divine beasts, the purple Qilin. The Qilin roared and charged towards the god of thunder. Its aura was enough to kill a 9th stage immortal sex emperor. Boom! A punch landed on the chest of the god of thunder, who had just gotten up. The Qilin's blood chi instantly killed the god of thunder's life force. Gotcha! Tian's fist turned into an elbow strike and landed on the god of thunder's neck. His elbow was like a divine weapon, and it directly broke the god of thunder's head. With a twist, a super expert of a generation died on the spot. Good. Good brother, you are indeed worthy of being this divine bird's brother. Well done. The parrot laughed arrogantly, and said to the hidden experts in disdain, "This divine bird wants to see who dares to be so arrogant." The Enyang 8 divisions were enraged. This was the first time in 1,000 years that the head disciple of the 8 divisions had been killed by an outsider. All the hidden experts stared at the side of the endless universe. They had been defeated twice by the Kwang sect. This was a humiliation to them, and they wanted revenge. The parrot also noticed the murderous intent in their eyes. He quickly gathered everyone and whispered, "It's our turn to go first. The next one has to be careful. They will definitely send out a super expert regardless of their reputation. Let me do it." Feng Wuxia had always been unknown. After returning from the endless space, he had undergone a qualitative change. Perhaps the hidden experts would look down on him, and this was his only chance. Feng Wuxia walked towards the arena silently, and did not show any signs of strength. He looked like a handsome young master from a rich family, and did not look like a cultivator at all. This attracted the ridicule of the crowd. Just as a strong expert was about to step out, he was stopped by Jacan. Jacan smiled coldly and stepped onto the arena. His murderous intent filled the air. The parrot frowned and looked at Feng Wuxia. He was only at the 5th stage of the Immortal Gate, and Jacan was at the 9th stage. Not to mention his combat strength, his chances of winning were very low. "I am Feng Wuxia. I never care to know the name of a dead man." Whoosh! The golden dragon sword was so fast that it tore through space. In the blink of an eye, Jacan had pierced Feng Wuxia's throat. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Jacan's strength was unimaginable. The Kwang sect was shocked. They did not expect Jacan to be so strong. Zetian's pupils constricted, and he exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. This was because Feng Wuxia had dodged the fatal blow without any warning. Jacan had only pierced through Feng Wuxia's afterimage. As the afterimage dissipated, Zakin wasn't surprised at all. He only calmly said, "I didn't know that you had such a deep understanding of the wind profound meaning. However, to me this is just a small trick. In my eyes, any secret technique is incomplete." Xiao 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 xiao. Jacan suddenly disappeared, and the void was filled with sword shadows and sharp sword qi. It was neither strong nor fast, and even the great formation of a quasi-emperor had been pierced through. His attack enveloped the entire arena, and no one could rely on dodging to withstand his attack, unless someone proved that they could defeat him. Feng Wuxia's calm face finally changed. Even if he turned into wind, he was still beaten into a human form. Even the wind element could be killed by Jacan. In just a short moment, he had been hit twice. Although he had dodged the fatal attack, the difference in cultivation level was too great, and he could not take it head-on. Path of incomplete martial arts, incomplete man's style. Whoosh! A cold golden light flashed, and the sword qi disappeared from the quasi-emperor array. It pierced through the clouds and rushed into the universe. The parrot shouted, "F***ck, you bastard. Another inheritor of the incomplete martial arts. This is not fair. The difference in cultivation level is so big, how can we fight?" What's fair? Which great emperor doesn't defeat those of the same cultivation level, and even fight across realms? Nangong Po sneered. Everyone from the insane sect was silent. When the great emperor was young, he could indeed defeat those of the same cultivation level. When he was in the first tier of the Immortal Gate, he could defeat anyone below the Immortal Martial stage. He could even defeat the princes of the hidden sections. However, Feng Wuxia had just started to transform, and the gap between him and the great emperor was too big. Moreover, the inheritor of the incomplete martial arts was not something that ordinary princes could compare to. Everyone stared at the arena with their eyes wide open. No matter how fast Feng Wuxia was, he could not withstand Jacan's killing move. His origin was injured, and he reverted to his original form. His chest was pierced through, and before anyone could say anything, Jacan used his destructive qi to suppress half of Feng Wuxia's life force. Puff! Feng Wuxia coughed up blood and flew backward. His eyes were full of unwillingness. He struggled to stand up, but Jacan used the space law and appeared in front of him. His sword pierced through Feng Wuxie's sea of qi, and the terrifying great Tao of destruction shattered mountains and rivers, directly shattering his body. No! Shi Gu was furious, and he roared hoarsely. He watched his cousin, who he had fought since childhood, being killed. His eyes were bloodshot, and he was filled with murderous intent. An elder from the insane sect had fallen. He was only 30 years old, and to cultivators, he was like a child. Boom! Everyone from the insane sect stood up. Their battle intent was monstrous, and their murderous intent was extremely dense. At this point, they were destined to fight to the death. No one would hold back. You will regret this. Jian Qinshua's voice was as cold as ice, and it smashed into Jacquin's heart. Jacquin's lips curled up and he said indifferently, "This is a battle of life and death. If you want revenge, I will accompany you anytime." Chapter 324. This was just a battle to determine the winner. If they wanted to kill him, they would have to wait until his next battle. The premise was that the Kuang sect and the rest could survive until the end. Each person could only fight once. Unless there was only one person left on their side, they could fight continuously. This was the rule. The hidden experts wanted to kill all the princes. Who's next? Jian Qinshu asked with murderous intent. At this moment, everyone knew that whoever went up first would be the unlucky one. Other than the one who was going to fight, the other party could go up as they wished. Normally, they would choose someone stronger and kill them. Other than the fifth mad god, no one dared to show up at this moment. At this moment, Shin Ke gestured for one of his followers to step forward. In a low voice, he said, "Wang Luan, kill him. Force Yi Qinghan out as fast as you can." The expert named Wang Luan was expressionless. He stepped into the arena without any murderous intent. However, his murderous intent was already spreading. The sixth tier of the Immortal Gate did not seem too strong. Although there was a gap between the ninth tier, he still needed to gain experience. "Let me do it." Li Jiucheng's vigorous face was filled with battle intent. He held the dragon suppression seal and stepped into the arena. No one stopped him. This was not only a battle to the death, but also an experience. When Wang Luan saw that it was a junior, disdain appeared on his face. He knew that his mission this time was completed. Whoosh! A sword light illuminated the 9 heavens. As soon as Wang Luan attacked, many elders of the Kuang sect were shocked. This guy was already strong enough to be crowned as a king. He could fight against a 9th-tier existence. Li Jiucheng threw out the dragon suppression seal. His palms kept forming seals in front of him to block the attack. When the two attacks collided, Li Jiucheng used the advantage of the pseudo-extreme Dao Monarch weapon to push Wang Luan back dozens of steps. Suppress. 10 fingers interlocked, forming seals. The dragon suppression seal turned into a huge seal that covered the sky. The pressure caused the arena to crack. Dark clouds rolled up in the sky outside the formation. The huge seal fell from the sky and smashed towards Wang Luan. Wang Luan frowned. He didn't expect that a junior with mediocre talent like Li Jiucheng would actually have a sealed pseudo-extreme Dao Emperor weapon. His figure flashed and he didn't retreat. Instead, he rushed towards Li Jiucheng. He knew that he couldn't fight the dragon suppression seal to the death. He had to kill Li Jiucheng first before the dragon suppression seal would lose control. Whoosh! Wang Luan turned into a streak of sword light, flickering on the stage, constantly dodging the dragon suppressing seal, getting closer and closer to Li Jiucheng. Li Jiucheng's eyes were tightly shut, because at this time his eyes could no longer keep up with his opponent's trajectory. His divine sense firmly locked onto Wang Luan, and he controlled the dragon suppressing seal to smash at him. "We can't retreat. You mustn't retreat. If you do, the enemy will seize the opportunity to kill you." Many elders of the crazy sect frowned. They did not expect Wang Luan's speed to be so fast. Wang Luan had even comprehended the law of space. He was 5 whole realms away from the 9th level. The distance between them was getting closer and closer. Seeing that Wang Luan was about to kill Li Jiuzhong with his sword, little Li was frightened and tears streamed down her face. Stan Wuxie clenched his iron fists tightly, his steel-like teeth shattering. His qi and blood exploded as he was about to charge into the battlefield. Die! Wang Luan's speed suddenly increased. His figure flashed and disappeared from Li Jiuzhong's sight. When he reappeared, the sword had already pierced through his chest. Li Jiuzhong roared as he grabbed the opponent's divine weapon with both hands and controlled the dragon's suppressing seal to smash himself. Whoosh! The dragon's suppressing seal shattered the void, directly drowning Wang Luan and Li Jiuzhong. Wang Luan was shocked. He abandoned his sword and tried to escape, but he still could not escape from the dragon's suppressing seal. Boom! The dragon's suppressing seal directly smashed the stage and kept shrinking, just enough to suppress Wang Luan. A dignified emperor of a generation was smashed into meat paste. Blood flowed out from the stage in all directions. It was extremely terrifying. Li Jiuzhong spat out a mouthful of essence blood and fell straight to the ground. His face was full of death qi without any vitality. Boom! Stan Wuxie was 1 step faster. He directly hugged Li Jiuzhong and found that the sword had pierced through his heart. Li Jiuzhong's flame of life was extinguished at any time. Whoosh! Jian Chenxue went onto the stage and directly froze Li Jiuzhong's body, preserving his life. Whether he could survive or not would depend on his own fortune. Unless a great emperor personally appeared to extend his life. In this battle, the Kuang sect had lost another pillar. The parrot was a bit angry. At this time, they could not act recklessly. If they did, the Kuang sect would really be destroyed. In this battle, be careful of the Yin-Yang family, the 5th Mad God and Nangong Po. The Yin-Yang family's Yin-Yang fusion qi is all-pervasive. It can ignore Zhen Yuan defense. The 5th Mad God's attack is unparalleled. You can refer to Nangong Po's martial arts. Everyone, think carefully before you fight. Don't act recklessly. The parrot reminded. I'll do it. A dignified voice came from afar, causing the ground to tremble. Everyone turned around and saw a strong and vigorous man carrying a huge axe walking towards them. Nie Tian. This guy had disappeared for a long time, but he was not late. The Kuang sect lacked experts. The parrot's eyes flashed. Nie Tian was a super expert of strength, similar to Yi Qinghan. His martial arts were a mess. He learned every martial art he found in the eternal battlefield. He was extremely talented and knew almost everything. This kind of person was born to fight. Boom! Nie Tian carried the huge axe and stepped onto the stage. He directly shattered the broken stage and shook all the debris out of the quasi-emperor formation. He said coldly, "A battle to the death is a battle to the death. What's the point of setting up a stage? It's a burden." The corners of the mouth of the people from the hidden wealthy families twitched. It seemed that this big man was a bore. Come, come, come. Hurry up. I'm in a hurry. Nie Tian shouted coldly. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The Yin-Yang family's expert of Yin-Yang stepped out of the crowd. There was a waning moon on his shoulder. The moon was Yin and the sun was Yang. Among the 8 divisions of Yin and Yang, besides the main division, Yin and Yang were the strongest. The Yin-Yang break was extremely powerful. The great Tao of Yin wrapped around his body, and the surrounding airflow surged. Offense was the strongest defense of the Yin-Yang family. If the opponent could not resist, there was no need to defend. Nie Tian waited for the Yin-Yang break to enter the formation. He grabbed the handle of the huge axe with his big hand. The ground trembled and sank, showing the weight of the huge axe. "Nobody, you don't need to know my name." The Yin-Yang break stepped into the battle circle and formed a seal with his palms. The airflow turned into a huge blade. The combination of yin and yang was the yin-yang school's most powerful secret technique. It could ignore the enemy's defense and directly destroy their vitality. I've never been interested in the names of dead people. Come, bastard. Nie Tian did not give him any face. He held the huge axe with both hands. The huge axe emitted a divine light. You're courting death. Break. The yin-yang break formed the seal with his palms very quickly. The airflow around him turned into countless sharp blades that filled the entire space and rushed toward Nie Tian. Once it got close, even a perfect divine martial expert could not do anything. Boom! Nie Tian brandished the huge axe and split the earth. Then, he lifted the huge axe up and blocked part of the attack in front of him. Then, he brandished the huge axe in a huge circle. The huge axe shone brightly as it disrupted his opponent's yin-yang fusion airflow and turned the attack of the yin-yang break into his own attack. Then, he brandished the huge axe and smashed it forward. The huge axe burst out with a terrifying power that soared into the starry river. The flying earth was shattered by the airflow, and the yin-yang fusion airflow rushed towards Nie Tian, colliding with the chaos power. Nie Tian's attack directly penetrated the yin-yang fusion airflow and arrived in front of the yin-yang break in the blink of an eye. The yin-yang break was shocked. His most powerful attack could not block Nie Tian's axe. The force of the yin-yang break from the axe was a force he had never seen before. It could destroy everything. Whoosh! Puff! The force of the yin-yang break and the huge axe's sharpness pierced into the body of the yin-yang break at the same time, killing the top 3 experts of the yin-yang school in a flash. Natural enemy Nie Tian was the natural enemy of the yin-yang school. His strength was too terrifying. The force of the yin-yang school was unstoppable. Trash! How dare trash like you come out and make a fuss? Nie Tian turned around and left after killing the man. He did not even say goodbye to the people of the Kuang sect. It seemed that he was in a hurry. The people of the yin-yang school were furious. They wanted to join forces to stop Nie Tian, but they were stopped by Diwu Kuang God. Don't break the rules. Otherwise, some ants will say that we, the hidden forces, have no courage, Diwu Kuang God said coldly. Once again, it was time for the experts from the reclusive great clans to fight. This time, Diwu Tianhe walked out and shouted with a sinister expression, Yi Qinghan, if you have the guts, don't hide. Come out and give me back my imperial weapon. The people of the Kuang sect frowned. They did not know where Yi Qinghan was. Only Nangong Powu knew. Wasn't he taking advantage of the situation to make a fuss? Yi Qinghan is dead. Your emperor weapon is in the depths of the ultimate heaven sea. Do you want to go get it yourself? Zhikan said disdainfully. Diwu Tianhe's face turned ugly. He lost the emperor weapon. If he could not get it back this time, he would definitely be punished by his family. Losing the emperor weapon was not a small crime. Yi Qinghan, you piece of trash. How could you be dead? Come out. Don't hide your head and show your tail like a coward. Diwu Tianhe shouted angrily. He was not willing to let the emperor weapon fall into the ultimate heaven sea. Master is not here. I'll fight on behalf of my master. It's more than enough to kill you. Si Wuxie couldn't stand someone insulting Yi Qinghan. Ignoring everyone's advice, he charged into the battlefield. His golden bloodline erupted, suppressing everything within 1,000 miles. Even the Boundary Emperor's grand formation couldn't restrain his golden bloodline. His golden hair and golden eyes were captivating. Golden bloodline. Diwu Kuang God frowned. As the younger brother of the Diwu Great Emperor, how could he not know about the golden bloodline? Killing such a genius would be punished by the heavens. He was really worried that Diwu Tianhe's brain would cramp and kill Si Wuxie directly. Fight on behalf of your master? Then die for him. Boom. Diwu Tianhe hated the people of the crazy sect to the core. He wanted to kill one of them immediately to vent his anger. He directly used the second move of the heavenly sea realm. Second page flipping sun and moon die. Boom. Vital essence poured out and gathered the sun and moon. It descended from the top of the sky and shattered the earth. It was going to destroy the mountains and rivers. Roar. Si Wuxia felt the threat of death. He raised his head and roared. His golden bloodline was completely activated. He was like a roaring lion. His golden hair fluttered in the wind. His entire body was like gold, emitting light. He punched the sun and moon with his iron fist. The crazy explosion of the golden bloodline, even at the cost of burning his life force, shook everyone until their blood was boiling. Even Yi Qinghan, who was tens of thousands of miles away, could feel it clearly. Suddenly, his expression changed. He merged with the god-slaying eagle and flapped his wings, soaring up to 90,000 miles. Chapter 325. Even the sovereign domain was alarmed, and the boundary emperors who were preparing to go into hiding came out. Stan Wuxia's golden blood qi had never exploded like this before. It was as if Stan Wuxia had descended from the heavens. The aura of a true human emperor was majestic and vast. He's burning his life force. Everyone was shocked. Burning his life force at such a young age, even if he didn't die this time, the damage to his foundation would be irreversible. Stan Wuxia would no longer be able to fight for the position. Bastard! Open the formation! Diwu Quangshan was furious. He knew what the golden blood qi represented. How could it be ruined like this? No matter who won or lost this battle, Diwu Tianhe would be the biggest loser. He would be the sinner of the human race, and even the fate of the Diwu family would be affected. All the boundary emperors flew over. Unfortunately, the golden blood qi burned too quickly. With the support of the burning speed, Stan Wuxia's combat power instantly exceeded the divine martial realm. He punched through the sun and moon, piercing through the sky, and arrived in front of Diwu Tianhe. Die! Stan Wuxia was like an angry dragon as he attacked Diwu Tianhe. Diwu Tianhe was shocked. He never thought that this would happen. The second style of his heavenly scroll of Dao Si was enough to fight against a beginner divine martial realm, but in front of Stan Wuxia, it was as fragile as a piece of paper. Now that Stan Wuxia was right in front of him, he didn't have the chance to dodge or use the third style. He could only roar and gather half of his combat power in a hurry to meet the attack. Boom! The two iron fists collided and blood and bones shattered. Diwu Tianhe's entire right arm was shattered. He turned into a bloody mist, and his body smashed into the boundary emperor's formation like a kite with a broken string. His skin was torn apart, and he fell to the ground and fainted. Stan Wuxia stood on the spot, and his pupils emitted a terrifying light. He didn't move for a long time. Boom! The boundary emperor's formation was torn apart by the boundary emperors. Everyone from the crazy sect rushed into the battlefield and found that Stan Wuxia had already fainted. His terrifying willpower was supporting him to stand. He had consumed more than half of his origin, and could no longer be considered a true golden blood qi. The price he paid for this battle was too great. He had lost the qualification to fight for the position of the great emperor. The human race was enraged, the myriad races were enraged, and even the quasi-emperors were enraged. At this time, the golden bloodline had actually lost the qualification to compete for the throne because of internal strife. This was the endless universe's shame and immeasurable loss. However, not only did the people of the hidden wealthy families not feel regretful, but they were also gloating. In their opinion, even if the dead spirits were to attack the endless universe, they would not attack the hidden wealthy families. The fact that the human race had no emperor had nothing to do with them. Only the Diwu mad god was furious. It was not that he felt sorry for Tan Wuxia, but he was worried that the heavenly punishment would affect the fate of the Diwu family and affect his Dao attainment. Bastard! If it weren't for the fact that you're my brother's grandson, I would have killed you myself. Diwu Guangshan took out a golden pill and placed it directly into Diwu Tianhe's mouth. It melted as soon as it entered his mouth, and he woke up not long after. However, he was still in a daze and kept muttering to himself. Obviously, he was stunned by Stan Wuxia's punch, and his Dao heart was a little unstable. Go back to your family. Without my order, if you dare to come out again, I'll kill you myself. Diwu Guangshan roared. Although the quasi-emperors were angry, they did not lose their minds. Diwu Guangshan was the younger brother of the Diwu Great Emperor, and his seniority was terrifyingly high. They still had to give him face. After all, Tan Wuxia was already crippled. There was no need to offend a future great perfection boundary emperor for a piece of trash. The Guangzong sect had no reason to stop him. This was the agreement. Nie Tian had left after killing him, so they could only let Diwu Tianhe leave. Jian Qinshue's expression was ugly. She could only freeze Tan Wuxia again. The origin of the golden bloodline was damaged. This was unprecedented. No one knew how to nourish and repair the origin of the golden bloodline. The Guangzong sect was completely furious. They did not want to let the younger generation take any more risk. Jian Qinshui went up directly, looking coldly at the hidden wealthy families. She clenched her fist, and the earth was frozen. Diwu Guangshan and the others did not want to fight with a woman. In the end, they forced an ordinary expert of the Xian sect to go up and die. Jian Qinshui was slightly angry. She looked at Nangong Powu with disdain and said, "Nangong Powu, don't you dare to come up?" Nangong Powu smiled faintly and said eerily, "Just a little girl. I'm not interested." The expert of the Xian sect looked embarrassed. Since Jian Qinshui dared to challenge Nangong Powu, her combat strength was not something he could compete with. This was really suicide. There was no other way. After all, Xian Hualong was killed in advance. Jian Qinshui looked coldly at the expert of the Xian sect. Her aura increased greatly. Her will froze thousands of miles. Snow flew in the air, and the ice on the ground wrapped around the expert. He was instantly frozen, and even his soul was suppressed. The expert of the hidden wealthy families changed his expression slightly. Jian Qinshui's strength was beyond imagination. She could kill the expert of the Xian sect with her will alone. Jian Qinshui went down. The head disciple of the Yinyang Fire sect, Yinyang Fire Dragon, went up aggressively. He wanted to fight the emperor and saint. Zhang Gu rushed up without hesitation. His fighting spirit soared. The Zhan family and the Yinyang family were both families of the barbaric era. Their temperament was unparalleled. The real experts did not move, but their auras soared to the sky. They relied on each other's momentum to suppress the opponent. The Yinyang Fire Dragon emitted the origin of fire, burning everything. The ground turned into nothingness. The terrifying flame was like a fire dragon, exuding a scorching temperature. The two fought directly without any nonsense. At this time, they would not stop until one of them was dead. What sects and wealthy families! What emperors bearing! Even Si Wuxia's golden origin was destroyed. Who else could not be killed? The formation was turned upside down. Spear will and fighting spirit filled the air. The origin of fire almost enveloped the entire space. Even the quasi-emperor formation was about to be ignited. The two's combat strength was similar. They were fighting with their will and fighting spirit. Zhang Gu was slightly better, but the Yinyang Fire Dragon's secret technique was strange. It broke through Zhang Ji's defense continuously. Zhang Gu coughed up blood. Yang Zhan raised his golden spear and stared at the battlefield. The human race had suffered heavy casualties. If they lost this battle, they would not be able to recover their losses. They would lose half of their momentum. Whoosh! Two fire dragons suddenly rolled up in the formation. They crazily attacked each other and intertwined. There was a loud roar that was deafening. Zhang Gu and the Yinyang Fire Dragon coughed up blood at the same time and fell backward. They crashed into the formation and smashed into the ground. Both of them fainted at the same time. It was a draw. It was a draw. The human race lost another powerful contestant. The people of the Tao Realm Holy Land and the arrogant sect looked terrible. At least half of the chief disciples of the secluded sects had not fought yet. They had lost so many experts and 3 of them were seriously injured. Were they really going to be wiped out this time? The morale of the Tao Realm Holy Land and the myriad tribes was low. Even the parrot could not think of a solution. This was completely random. No one could control it. Overall, the human race's combat strength was higher than the Tao Realm Holy Land. It was the turn of the endless universe again. At this time, the juniors who wanted to fight were suppressed. The rest were those who did not want to fight. Long Qiong, Yang Zhan, Qitian Monkey King, and the others all targeted Diwu Quangshan and the people of the Yinyang family and the remnant sect. They could not fight at will. The people of the arrogant sect were silent. Immediately, it attracted the ridicule of the hidden expert. The arrogant sect was very passive. No matter who went up, they might not be able to survive because the other party would definitely send out stronger experts to fight. What's wrong? Aren't you very arrogant? Are your legs weak? Such a weakling dares to call himself the arrogant sect. Ha ha, I'm dying of laughter. The hidden experts were encouraged by the superclass experts and started to provoke them. Shi Guo was about to fight, but Muyo Tianqian pressed his shoulder. Don't be rash. If we fight again, we will definitely attract the real superclass expert. We are still young, at most 100 years old. The other party has been cultivating for hundreds of years. The gap is too big. We still have time. Play slowly, Xia Qiue reminded in a low voice. Xia Ziluo's mouth twitched. Seeing the other party humiliating the arrogant sect, she was about to enter the arena when a strong wind suddenly blew in the sky. Many low-level immortal sect emperors were swept away. A terrifying murderous aura shrouded the mountains and rivers. The experts outside the Imperial Abyss City were shocked and looked up at the void. A pair of wings covered the sky and the stars moved. Riding the wind and breaking the waves, it appeared in the Imperial domain. The entire Imperial domain fell into darkness. Screech! The goshawk let out a mournful cry. Its sharp claws tore through the mountains and rivers. Its 8th-grade divine aura was vast and mighty. 8th-grade god-slaying eagle. The experts of the 10,000 races were shocked. An 8th-grade god-slaying eagle had appeared. What exactly did it eat? This is impossible. This kind of god-slaying eagle is at most 4th grade. It's already heaven-defying if it can grow to 5th grade. Yi Qinghan has already broken the record by cultivating it to 7th grade. How can an 8th grade one appear now? Feng Ling was the emperor of birds. She had the last right to speak about flying beasts. At this moment, her expression changed greatly. Look, isn't that Master's god-slaying eagle? The people of the arrogant sect were excited. Huang Xiaohu pointed at the edge of the imperial domain and shouted. The people of the arrogant sect all stood up. The parrot was overjoyed. It could still recognize Yi Qinghan's aura. After all, with the power of the contract, it could sense Yi Qinghan the moment he appeared in the imperial domain. Its master. Ha ha ha, a bunch of little bastards. I'll let you all be arrogant. I'll kill you all later. The parrot was even more arrogant. Its small eyes widened as if they could see through the origin of everything. It looked at the young man standing on the head of the god-slaying eagle at the edge of the imperial domain. He held a 7-foot saber in his hand. He was bold and powerful, like an indomitable god of war. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the god-slaying eagle's speed became faster and faster, alarming the quasi-emperors. Although the 8th-grade god-slaying eagle's realm did not rise, the grade of its bloodline did. As long as there were heavenly materials and earthly treasures, the god-slaying eagle could easily break through and become a fake emperor. Nangong Po was furious. Zhikan also frowned. Obviously, they did not believe that Yi Qinghan had escaped from the depths of the ultimate sky sea. This was as unacceptable as the revival of the divine martial emperor. Thud thud thud, Nangong Po was hit by the energy and took a few steps back. There was a touch of horror in his eyes. At this moment, he also saw a man standing on the head of the god-slaying eagle. What else could that be if not Berserker? Chapter 326. Outside Emperor Abyss City, there was dead silence. Then, cheers and roars erupted from the city walls. Nangong Po's face was ashen as he scolded Jacan. Where did you send him? Didn't you say he was in the depths of ultimate heaven ocean? Who is he then? Jacan was also stunned. He had no idea what was going on. Ultimate heaven ocean blocked all Dao techniques and heaven's secret. Once one was in the depths, it was impossible to return. How did Yi Qinghan do it? Master! Brother Yi! Everyone was shocked but not happy. Zhong Kuang had lost 3 generals and Feng Wuxia had died. They couldn't be happy. Shua! Yi Qinghan waved his hand and the god-slaying eagle disappeared. He landed outside Emperor Abyss City and looked at the frozen sea Wuxia and Li Jiuchong. He clenched his fists and a cold light shot out from his eyes. Big brother, Brother Wuxia's source was destroyed. Senior brother only has a little bit of life left. Brother Feng Wuxia died in battle. Di Longtian pursed his lips and said while holding back his tears. Huff, huff, huff. Yi Qinghan breathed heavily. He didn't expect such a big thing to happen after he left. Si Wuxia's source was the golden bloodline. Feng Wuxia had comprehended the profound of wind and was evolving. He didn't expect them to be gone just like that. Li Jiuchong was frozen and couldn't be sensed anymore. Without a true top-grade saint medicine, he couldn't be revived. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and glared at the hidden experts. The cold light in his eyes could even kill Emperor-level experts. He reached out and grabbed the parrot in his palm. His divine sense entered the parrot's sea of consciousness and sensed that he had already left the monarch domain for 2 years. There was a huge battle in the endless universe. Almost all the quasi-emperors and false emperors were wiped out. The divine martial realm was almost broken, and there were not many immortal realm experts left. However, these hidden experts suddenly appeared and tried to steal the fruits of Tao. You forced me to go crazy. I'll go crazy for once. Yi Qinghan grinned bitterly. He looked at Nangong Po and the others and said in a hoarse voice, I'm going to change the rules. The strong can take on the challenge. I'll be the first challenger. Since so many of you are here for my insane sect, then come at me together. Boom. Yi Qinghan stepped into the battlefield. His figure soared into the sky. Borrowing the momentum of heaven and earth, he raised his saber and pointed it at Nangong Po. He said coldly, Before that, I'll clean up this place first. I'll use your body as a sacrifice to the billions of lives on Owl War Planet. Nangong Po frowned as he looked at Yi Qinghan. He realized that he had changed a lot and became more profound. His cultivation had also risen to the 5th level of the Immortal Gate. He had only left for 2 years. No matter how talented Jiutian was, his cultivation speed couldn't be so fast. At this moment, he suddenly felt that if he fought with Yi Qinghan, it was unknown who would live and who would die. Nangong Po wouldn't do something he wasn't confident in, so he didn't want to enter the array. If he fought outside, even if he lost, he would still have a chance to escape. Nangong Po looked at the indifferent Yi Qinghan and smiled. He mocked, Master, we haven't seen each other for 2 years. How have you been? You haven't seen your disciple for so long, so shouldn't we have a good chat? Why do you have to make a move? I don't have a disciple like you, Nangong Po. When you planned to kill Xiao Zhanxing, you should have known that you would die in my hands. Since you don't dare to come in, what's the use of this array? Yi Qinghan stepped out of the array and coldly glanced at Diwu Guangshan and the others. He said, This is a personal grudge between me and the Tao of martial mutilation. Those who are not involved, retreat into the Imperial Abyss City. Otherwise, don't say that I didn't warn you if you die here. Mu Yu Tianchen and the others led the Guangzong and retreated towards the Imperial Abyss City. Since Yi Qinghan dared to say this, his explosive power would definitely be able to kill an ordinary superclass expert. Staying here would make him feel restrained and unable to use his full strength. Zhikan didn't retreat, neither did the Yinyang school. Shun Ke didn't leave, and neither did Diwu Quangshan. Gu Qingyu and Jian Chenxue stayed. Qitian Monkey King, Zitian, and Long Qiong didn't leave either. However, Yang Zhan took Zhan Guo and returned to the Zhan family's Dao realm. Yi Qinghan, I don't care about your personal grudge. Return the heavenly scripture of the Dao Si to me, and I will leave immediately, Diwu Quangshan said coldly. Yi Qinghan looked at Diwu Quangshan, the biological brother of the Diwu Great Emperor, and replied indifferently, It's easy to get the heavenly scripture of the Dao Si. Twist Diwu Tianhe's head off and give it to me. Then, return Wuxie's golden origin, and I will give you the heavenly scripture of the Dao Si with both hands. Otherwise what? Diwu Quangshan asked in disdain. Otherwise, I will use the heavenly scripture of the Dao Si to forcefully wipe the Diwu family from the endless universe. Yi Qinghan hated this Diwu family to the extreme, especially Diwu Tianhe. First, he wanted to snatch Emperor Yi. Now, he forced Si Wuxie to burn his origin vitality. This was simply unforgivable. It seems like you are forcing me to kill you. Diwu Quangshan's eyes flashed with murderous intent as he stared at Yi Qinghan. There will be a battle. Yi Qinghan didn't say anything else and directly walked towards Nangong Powu with his saber. Ding! Nangong Powu summoned his battle spear and made the first move. Path of the crippled martial arts, crippled man's style. Boom! The spiritual energy of heaven and earth surged, directly shattering space and time. It turned into a poisonous dragon that drilled through everything and charged towards Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan held the saber hilt with both hands and crossed his legs. Azure Dragon Body activated, dragon blood boiled, metal origin erupted, wood origin wrapped around his body, and dark elements poured out. He fully unleashed his battle strength, wanting to destroy mountains and rivers with one saber strike. Heavy frenzy strike. All laws submit. Hua! The saber cut through the clouds, causing the mountains and rivers to tremble. Terrifying murderous intent filled space and time, covering the sky and the sun. Yi Qinghan's aura was majestic, and he was extremely domineering. The saber tip ruthlessly clashed with the tip of the spear. The heavy frenzy saber and the battle spear clashed. Some overconfident emperor-level martial artists' eardrums were instantly pierced. They coughed out blood and were sent flying. Even their souls were directly wiped out. Boom! The aftershock surged for 10,000 miles and swept towards the Emperor Abyss City. The Monarch Array was activated, and divine light rushed into the void. Fortunately, only the defensive Monarch Array was activated. Otherwise, these people would have been attacked by the Monarch Array. Tsing tsing tsing. Nangong Po felt as if his spear had clashed with the Monarch Dao body. His blood and qi were surging, and the web between his thumb and forefinger cracked. Fresh blood flowed out and he kept on retreating. He was shocked by Yi Qinghan's strength. Die for me. I'm going to hang your corpse on Owl War Star and let everyone rest in peace. Yi Qinghan roared and his waist sank. The inch strike exploded with tenfold strength, and the heavy frenzy saber cleaved Nangong Powa's battle spear away. Hua! After the heavy frenzy saber cleaved Nangong Powa's battle spear, it broke through the void and charged towards Nangong Powa's true body. Nangong Powa was shocked, and he kept on retreating, hoping to avoid Yi Qinghan's terrifying saber strike. Xiao 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 xiao. Yi Qinghan danced crazily, and his killing intent soared to the sky. The saber light split open the earth, and its aura was majestic, shocking everyone. Nangong Po was able to kill Xian Hualong, which proved his battle prowess. But now, he was being suppressed by Yi Qinghan, which meant that Yi Qinghan's battle prowess had reached the extreme. Boom! Nangong Po's Zhen Yuan poured out, and it gathered in his fist. A golden glove appeared on his right fist, and he suddenly punched towards Yi Qinghan's heavy frenzy saber. The two attacks clashed, and the earth trembled, setting off 10,000 layers of qi waves, and dust filled the air. Pfff. The bones in Nangong Po's hand were shattered, and his flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Yi Qinghan's aura was finally stopped, and he took a step back. But this didn't affect his desire to kill Nangong Po. Heavy frenzy heaven punishing style. Boom! A saber slashed through the clouds and mountains, and the sky was torn apart. The sound of the void being torn apart was endless, which made people's hair stand on end. Zakin squinted his eyes and stared at the two's trajectory. Their speed was too fast, and there were afterimages everywhere. His eyes couldn't keep up with them, and he could only use his divine sense to lock them down. He thought to himself, Yi Qinghan's martial arts are full of flaws, but it actually makes me feel like I don't know where to start. His power is too strong, and his speed is as fast as lightning. His opponent has no choice but to face him head-on. This is his advantage, and also Nangong Po's weakness. Tao of incomplete martial arts, incomplete martial style. Boom! Nangong Po turned into a heavenly war spear, and with the speed of lightning, he clashed with the heavy frenzy saber. Immediately, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Yi Qinghan directly smashed Nangong Po into the void. At this moment, Yi Qinghan was truly fighting against the heavens and the earth. He stomped on the ground and rushed into the void, ruthlessly stomping on Nangong Po's body. His left hand flipped the clouds, and his right hand covered the rain. Nangong Po was bathed in a river of blood as he was swept away by the qi waves. His face was full of anger as he unwillingly roared, Yi Qinghan, when we meet next time, I will gather all my avatars and kill you with my spear. Hua! Nangong Po immediately escaped, tearing through the void and disappearing in a flash. Yi Qinghan was indifferent. He waved his hand, and the heavy frenzy saber disappeared. A divine bow appeared in his hand, and he stood at the peak of the sky. He pulled the bow and shot the sun. All the blood vessels in his body swelled, and his strength reached the maximum. His Zhen Yuan condensed into a sky-splitting divine arrow. Xiao, the divine arrow broke through the void and also disappeared. Everyone's pupils shrank as they stared at the silent void. They felt as if a golden dragon was galloping through the void. Hua! Cracks constantly appeared in the sky. Not long after, a mournful scream echoed through the mountains and rivers. Nangong Po fell out of the void, his body pierced through. Blood gushed out like a fountain, and his vitality had mostly dissipated. Yi Qinghan had just summoned the heavy frenzy saber once more and stepped towards Nangong Po. His lips revealed a trace of killing intent as he roared, Nangong Po, die for me. Everyone was shocked. This was too powerful. If an elite like Nangong Po wanted to leave, no one would be able to stop them. But Yi Qinghan had actually blocked them. He's become so strong. Long Qiong, Qitian Monkey King, and the others glanced at each other. They were secretly shocked. Before Yi Qinghan left, whether it was Long Qiong or Qitian Monkey King, they could have instantly killed him. But now it was already good enough that they could barely win. Yi Qinghan could already stand shoulder to shoulder with them. Shakan was shocked. 2 years ago, when he had sent off Yi Qinghan, he had joined forces with Emperor Yi, but they still weren't his match. Now Yi Qinghan alone could kill Nangong Po's true body. Even if Nangong Po wasn't at his peak strength, and there were still 8 avatars outside, this combat strength was enough to explain everything. Yi Qinghan, you will regret this. Nangong Po bit the tip of his tongue and spat out a mouthful of blood essence. His face was deathly pale as he allowed the other's saber to approach him. He immediately formed a seal, and the moment Yi Qinghan arrived above his head, he disappeared. The heavy frenzy saber directly split apart his phantom, but no blood spurted out. Chapter 327. Outside Emperor Abyss City, there was dead silence. The powerful Nangong Po actually didn't hesitate to burn his blood essence to escape from the battlefield. Nangong Po couldn't even last half an hour against Yi Qinghan and suffered heavy injuries. Yi Qinghan's strength had already exceeded some people's imagination. Jaqen frowned. With Yi Qinghan's current combat strength, it was no longer suitable for him to fight to the death in public. Once both sides were injured, it would be easy for others to take advantage of the situation. Powerhouses fighting for the Dao position were heartless. If they could prove their Dao, thousands of years later, no one would care about what they had done. It was enough to know that they had proven their Dao and would protect the human race. Diwu Quangshan didn't move either. If he fought to the death at this time, it would only benefit others. The people from the Yin Yang family also fell silent. Yi Qinghan had returned. The 3 people from the Yin Yang family had died in vain. There was no need to talk about revenge. Without someone strong enough to suppress Yi Qinghan, they couldn't kill anyone from the Guangzhong sect. Shin Ke smiled. He was incomparably confident. He walked forward and said indifferently, "Brother Yi, I haven't seen you for a few years. I didn't expect you to catch up to me. How can I, a so-called monster who has cultivated for hundreds of years, endure this?" As the saying goes, one doesn't hit a smiling face. Yi Qinghan didn't know that Wang Luan, who had suffered heavy injuries from Li Jiuchong, was Shin Ke's follower. Seeing him take the initiative to greet him, Yi Qinghan nodded slightly and said, "Brother Shin, this isn't the time to be friendly. If you stand on the side of the hidden aristocratic families, we will have to fight sooner or later. But now, please step aside. I want to kill someone." Yi Qinghan's eyes swept across the crowd. He locked onto Zhe Kan's position and sneered, "Zhe Kan, you are disappointed. From this era onwards, there will be no more inheritances of martial art. I really didn't expect you to be able to escape. It seems like the price you paid was not small. That zither immortal with the crimson demon physique is dead, right?" Zhe Kan replied indifferently. "Don't worry, she won't die. But I know you won't be able to escape today." Yi Qinghan closed in on Zhe Kan step by step. The heavy berserk saber in his hand trembled violently, as if he wanted to break free and kill his enemy on the spot. "Yi Qinghan, arrogance is one thing, but strength is another. Do you think you can defeat me just because you defeated Nangong Po? Although Nangong Po's original body is strong, it's not even half of his peak strength. As his senior brother, do you think I'm weaker than him?" Zhe Kan moved his feet lazily. Suddenly, his aura exploded. The golden dragon sword in his hand was connected to the origin of heaven and earth. Zhe Kan was ridiculously strong. This kind of fated enemy was not easy to kill, not to mention that there was a difference of 4 minor realms between them. Yi Qinghan narrowed his eyes. With every step he took, his aura grew stronger. Yin Yang Maple and the others narrowed their eyes as they looked at the two of them. Both of them were top-tier existences, possessing the bearing of a monarch. They had the strength to compete for the Taoist position. Once the two of them were injured, they would kill the 2 contenders first. Gu Qingyu and Jian Qinshu pressed forward and stared at the group of hidden experts. Shin Ke and the others couldn't help but sneer. Although these 2 people were strong, they would be drowned by the group of hidden experts in an instant. They wouldn't even be able to escape. At this moment, Xia Ziluo and Qitian Monkey King also pressed forward to prevent the hidden experts from suddenly attacking. Yang Zhan returned from the Dao Realm Holy Land and pressed forward. At this moment, Killing intent was everywhere. It was possible for a chaotic battle to break out. Many people would die, and top-tier experts would fall. The Tao Realm Holy Land was weak, and the 10,000 races were not united. The Qilin Tiger clan of the 10,000 races actually joined the hidden expert. The Qilin Tiger clan couldn't wait for Yi Qinghan to fall. How could it help him? Long Qiong was silent for a moment. She chose to remain neutral and didn't attack. Shin Ke retreated into the distance and revealed a smile, waiting for an opportunity. Yi Feng of the hidden experts flashed and directly left the range of Emperor Abyss City. He didn't participate in the battle, and no one knew how strong he was. Yi Qinghan frowned. He saw that the hidden experts were ready to attack at any moment. He couldn't use his full strength to fight Yi Qinghan. If he didn't use his full strength, he wouldn't be able to severely injure Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan was also on the defense. On one hand, he had to defend against Yi Qinghan, but he also had to be wary of the hidden experts. He wouldn't be stupid enough to leave his back to them. Moreover, once he and Yi Qinghan were both injured, he didn't believe that the Qitian Monkey King and the other super-existences wouldn't kill him. Yi Qinghan, the battle between you and me shouldn't have happened here. If you're really confident, why don't we still fight in the Qinling Mountains? Yi Qinghan took the initiative to compromise. He didn't want to continue the fight. It's fine if you attack me, but if you kill Feng Wuxie, there will be no negotiation between us. There will only be war. Yi Qinghan didn't hesitate anymore. He slashed out with his saber, causing the earth to undulate. Yi Qinghan's pupils shrank. He didn't expect Yi Qinghan to be so powerful. He immediately attacked with his full strength. His sword transformed into thousands of golden dragons that swooped down on Yi Qinghan. Xiao, 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 every sword attack was aimed at Yi Qinghan's flaws. However, Yi Qinghan's speed and strength directly erased the flaws. The opponent's golden dragons of sword qi were instantly destroyed. The violent saber was unstoppable and directly attacked Yi Qinghan's body. He could only take it head-on. Yi Qinghan couldn't display his full strength. Yi Qinghan was furious. His sword was like a rainbow as he used the spatial laws. He instantly disappeared and reappeared in front of Yi Qinghan. Boom! The violent saber and the violent saber collided. The explosion was deafening. Smoke and dust filled the air. However, the heroes didn't panic. Their divine senses were locked onto the battle area. Violent saber style. It was the same sword attack, but Yi Qinghan's understanding of the violent saber was much higher than Yi Qinghan's. Adding on the explosive power of a large realm, he instantly suppressed Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan was cold. He twisted his waist and pressed down on violent saber. It was as if a heavenly dragon had appeared. It was unstoppable and directly sent Yi Qinghan flying. Boom! Yi Qinghan fell into the distance and heavily smashed into the ground. Stone slabs flew everywhere and blood stained the place. Yang Feng was shocked. He whispered, "How strong is this guy? He has cultivated the Azure Dragon body of my Azure Dragon clan." Long Qiong was shocked. Yi Qinghan's dragon blood was boiling at this moment. He was like a true dragon. The purity of his blood essence was almost on par with his own. He couldn't accept this. After all, Yi Qinghan was a human. I remember that this guy seems to have several types of origin Dao physique. How did he create a special physique? Qitian Monkey King scratched his head. He couldn't understand. Boom! Just as everyone was discussing, Yi Qinghan kicked Yi Qinghan's chest and sent Yi Qinghan flying. However, the last attack directly pierced the saber into Yi Qinghan's leg bone. The two of them screamed. Yi Qinghan reached out and grabbed the violent saber. Blood flowed. The violent saber was attached with the aura of the Tao of Destruction. It actually prevented Yi Qinghan from healing his wound for the time being. Yi Qinghan threw the violent saber at Yi Qinghan's body. Then, He used the origin of metal to forcefully erase the Tao of destruction. The origin of wood flowed through his leg bone. Black blood was forced out and the wound was slowly healing. Yi Qinghan was in a very sorry state. The violent saber was like a flash of lightning. He tried his best to mobilize his divine sense and control the saber with all his might. He put his palms together and caught the saber. However, the saber's impact instantly destroyed his body. It smashed his body to the ground. His immortal sect robe was violently shattered. This kick to the chest caused his blood to flow unsmoothly. He spat out a mouthful of blood essence. His face was pale. Kill! Yi Qinghan's wound was half-healed. It didn't affect his movement. He burst out again and slashed at Yi Qinghan. Madman! Yi Qinghan was furious. Yi Qinghan had someone blocking the people from the hidden sects behind him. He didn't have that. He didn't want to fight to the death. He immediately turned around and ran. He activated the spatial laws to the extreme. The stars moved and he disappeared from everyone's sight in the blink of an eye. If this kind of super-existence wanted to escape, no one could stop him unless they relied on the suppression of a great realm. Yi Qinghan could only watch as he disappeared from his sight. There was nothing he could do. Humph! Yi Qinghan coldly snorted. He took out his divine bow and stood on the ground. His veins popped out. Dragon blood roared and dragon scales covered his body. He pulled the bowstring. The sound of the void being torn apart could be heard. Xiao! The true essence arrow pierced through the void and shot towards the void. Boom! There was a rumbling sound. A mournful scream came from afar. It was obvious that Yi Qinghan had been severely injured. Yi Qinghan was unwilling to accept this. He angrily stared into the distance. With his current strength, he couldn't use the 9-star moon-chasing explosion technique. Otherwise, he could kill Yi Qinghan in one move. After defeating 2 great experts in a row, Yi Qinghan turned around and glared at the experts from the hidden sections. The killing intent and battle intent in his eyes reached its peak. He slung the divine bow on his back and stepped towards the crowd. Many people couldn't help but lower their heads. They didn't dare to look at those terrifying eyes. They were like demons from hell. If they looked at them, their Tao hearts would shatter. Who still wants to fight? I'll accompany you to the end. Yi Qinghan coldly scanned the crowd and asked in a cold voice. Everyone was silent. Although some people were confident that they could defeat Yi Qinghan, they didn't dare to guarantee that they could leave this place alive after defeating Yi Qinghan. Clap, 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 Shen Ke clapped his hands and laughed. Brother Qinghan is indeed a dragon among men. I didn't misjudge you. I hope that one day we can enter the untainted land and fight. I'll leave today. I have something to do. The untainted land was a desolate and uninhabited place. It wouldn't be affected by the experts there. Many true elites would challenge the untainted land. Even if both sides were injured, there was nothing to worry about. Shen Ke issued the challenge and turned to leave. Yi Qinghan was indifferent. He scanned the hidden sects and found that many true experts were enduring and waiting for an opportunity. Diwu Quangshan frowned. He didn't expect Yi Qinghan to be so strong. He could defeat Yi Qinghan, who was in the 9th stage of the Immortal Gate, without using a monarch weapon. Even though Yi Qinghan's battle prowess was greatly reduced, it didn't stop the crowd from re-evaluating Yi Qinghan's battle prowess. Yi Qinghan, return the heavenly scripture of the Dao Si to the Diwu clan. I'll owe you a favor. When I attain Dao, you can come and find me. As long as it's within my power, I'll help you, Diwu Quangshan said in a low voice. Yi Qinghan's mouth twitched. He shouted, whether you attain Dao or not, it has nothing to do with me. If you want the heavenly scripture of the Dao Si back, bring Diwu Quangshan's head here and help Si Wuxie's golden bloodline recover. Otherwise, don't talk nonsense with me. Diwu Quangshan was furious. With his status, Even a quasi-emperor would have to give him some face and respectfully address him as fellow Taoist. Yi Qinghan refused to give him face time and time again. He couldn't stand it. Chapter 328. Outside the Imperial Abyss City, a murderous aura filled the air. Diwu Quangshan actually wanted to order the hidden forces to kill Yi Qinghan. Both sides faced each other. Nearly 100 people faced off against a dozen people. The gap between them was huge. The hidden experts of the Dao Realm Holy Land finally decided to stop hiding. A handsome man stepped out from the Imperial Abyss City. His white robes fluttered in the wind, and he looked like the wind, rain, and clouds. His clothes were similar to the imperial family of the Wangu Yuntian, but they were not exactly the same. His aura was overwhelming. No one recognized him, which meant that he was a self-proclaimed expert. Even the boundary emperors frowned. They couldn't recognize which era this person was from. Others didn't recognize him, but one person was surprised. That person was Diwu Quangshan. Yi Linshan? You didn't die. Didn't you die in the battle with my brother at Tianya Ridge? Diwu Quangshan's eyes were filled with disbelief as he asked hoarsely. What? This person is from the same era as Diwu Quangshan? He even fought with Diwu Quangshan? Everyone was shocked. They didn't know the name Yi Linshan, but who didn't know Diwu Quangshan? When he was young, he fought with Diwu Quangshan and didn't die. His battle prowess was enough to surpass his peers. Quangshan, I won't make things difficult for you because of your brother. Don't make things difficult for me. Yi Linshan put his hands behind his back. His voice was mellow and majestic. The tip of his foot stepped on a grain of sand. Diwu Quangshan's expression was ugly. Yi Linshan fought with Diwu Quangshan many times in the past. The last time they fought was at Tianya Ridge. In the end, he disappeared without a trace. People of that era thought that he had died in battle. They didn't expect that he was still alive and had sealed himself until now. The experts of the hidden forces finally changed their expressions. They didn't have to give face to others, but they had to give face to Yi Linshan. Diwu Quangshan couldn't represent Diwu Quangshan, but Yi Linshan could. Yi Linshan had single-handedly controlled the battle. Diwu Quangshan had no choice but to retreat. Brother Yi, I hope you can say something. The heavenly scripture of the Tao Si is my brother's personal weapon. You can't miss it, Diwu Quangshan said in a deep voice. You can't miss it? Didn't you miss it too? If Diwu Tianlu knew that the Diwu clan had become what it is today, yet you didn't discipline them, wouldn't you be disappointed? Yi Linshan looked down at Diwu Quangshan, as if he was teaching a junior. Diwu Quangshan clenched his iron fists and breathed heavily. After a long time, he cupped his fists and said, Brother Yi, you are right. I have been concealing myself all these years. It wasn't until 2 years ago that I was awakened by the Imperial weapon's lost arrow. Recently, I have been busy looking for the Imperial weapon and neglected to discipline my back. Let's go back. We won't lose the Imperial weapon. I guarantee that the Imperial weapon will return to the 5th clan after 1,000 years. Yi Linshan's voice was filled with determination. 5th Mad God's mouth twitched. He wanted to refute, but he didn't dare. Back then, Yi Linshan and the 5th Great Emperor and 5th Tianlu could be considered brothers. But back then, only the two of them had the aura of a great emperor. The two of them fought countless times, but their relationship was still very good. When 5th Mad God was young, he followed Yi Linshan like a shadow. Now, he was in awe of him. Mad God will go back now to take charge of the 5th clan and clean up some parasites. Diwu Mad God bowed slightly and left. Everyone didn't expect Diwu Mad God to leave so easily. They couldn't help but be shocked. How strong was Yi Linshan to make Diwu Mad God so respectful? Was he a true genius who had the potential to be crowned emperor like Yi Linshan? Diwu Mad God wasn't qualified now. Didn't that mean that these people had no hope? All of you should leave. The farce is over. The battle of Tao confirmation is not a game for children. How can a group of people fight? Yi Linshan glanced at the heroes and said coldly. Yi Linshan's seniority was ridiculously high. Even if someone was dissatisfied with his attitude, they didn't dare to refute him publicly. They could only leave. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and looked at Yi Linshan. He cupped his fists and said, "Thank you for helping me." Yi Linshan looked at the heroes and sighed slightly. He shook his head and said, "Things are not, people are not. Why did you seal yourself back then?" Yi Linshan turned and left. His faintly discernible figure gradually faded and disappeared without a trace. Yi Qinghan stared at Yi Linshan's back. He could see that his understanding of the great Tao had reached the peak and was not comparable to ordinary people. He couldn't help but ponder. After a long time, everyone dispersed. Yi Qinghan and the others took Feng Wuxie's body, Si Wuxie, and Li Jiuchong back to the Kuang sect. The atmosphere was very depressing. From today onwards, choose a secret technique and Tao to cultivate. Choose a great Tao to comprehend. No one is allowed to come out of seclusion until they reach the 5th layer of the Immortal Gate, Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. The people of the Kuang sect were too young. Compared to the other hidden experts, the gap was too big. They needed time to cultivate. After everyone dispersed, Yi Qinghan left Gu Qingyu alone. He placed the Tianwu combat sword in his hand and said, "This Tianwu combat sword is not sealed. Unfortunately, I'm not a sword cultivator and can't get the recognition of the sword spirit. I'll give it to you now. I'll leave it to you when I'm not in the Kuang sect." Gu Qingyu didn't refuse. He reached out and grabbed the hilt of the Tianwu combat sword. The sword's spirit actually merged with it automatically. "Go and comprehend it. I'll see if Wuxie and Jiuchong can be saved." Yi Qinghan's voice was hoarse and somewhat tired. He rushed back from absolute heaven and fought 2 experts. The pressure of time made it hard for him to breathe. Jian Chenxue froze the entire room. There were 2 crystal-clear ice coffins in the room. One held Si Wuxie and the other held Li Jiuchong. Yi Qinghan opened the door and looked at the 2 sleeping disciples. His heart ached. "Brother Qinghan, are you sure? If not, it's better to freeze them for now. Once the ice is released, their chance of survival will be gone." Jian Chenxue reminded. Yi Qinghan nodded. He looked at the 2 in the ice coffins and frowned. "Master, Jiuchong's life force is damaged. His flame of life is about to be extinguished. Without the real life-prolonging medicine, it's almost impossible to save him. As for Wuxie, he burned the essence of his origin. Without the help of heavenly treasures, he's completely wasted." The parrot showed its head and said helplessly. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed. His fingertip trembled. He flipped his hand and a finger-sized ball of light appeared in his hand. It gathered and didn't disperse. It looked like a small sun. The parrot was shocked. It drooled and exclaimed, "Oh my God, where did you get this treasure?" Yi Qinghan's mouth twitched. It wasn't easy to collect this ball of light from the water. That terrifying girl didn't stop him. He collected it for a long time and only got this little bit. He didn't expect to use it at such a crucial time. "Chenxue, help me remove the seal on Wuxie's body," Yi Qinghan said seriously. "What is this? It's going to break my seal." Jian Chenxue was shocked. "Light element origin. It can help all kinds of elements. I don't know if it has any effect on the damaged golden bloodline. Let's give it a try." Yi Qinghan said. "Light element origin? You found it?" Jian Chenxue was shocked. The light element origin was a legendary thing. It was said that it could only be found in the center of the sun. Even the great emperors couldn't get close to the sun. Therefore, the light element origin had never appeared. "Master, give me some. Just a little bit. Or you can tell me where you got it. I'll go there and try my luck." The parrot was drooling. Its saliva dripped onto Yi Qinghan's shoulder. "It's in the depths of the ultimate heaven sea. Do you want to try?" Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. When he came back, he realized that if that girl didn't throw him out, he and Emperor Yi wouldn't be able to come out even if they cultivated to the divine martial realm. Ultimate Heaven Sea. Forget it. I'm not interested in this stuff. Why don't you give me some? I'll return it to you when I find treasures. The parrot drooled. What's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine. There's no need to talk about returning it. This little bit of light element origin is only enough for wuxia. Next time, we'll explore the ultimate heaven sea. Yi Qinghan decisively rejected the parrot's request and directly injected the light element origin into Si Wuxia's body. The parrot was speechless. Jian Chenxue quickly froze Si Wuxia. Where's my son? After finishing her business, Jian Chenxue couldn't help but be curious. With Yi Qinghan's character, it was impossible for him to leave Emperor Yi behind. On an isolated island in the depths of the ultimate heaven sea, there's an unknown super-existence on the island. It left her there and asked me to bring her back after 1,000 years. Yi Qinghan shrugged and said helplessly. Jian Chenxue and Yi Qinghan walked out of the frozen house and found that the disciples and elders were practicing in the martial arts field. The two were silent for a moment. Chenxue, you stay in the crazy sect these days. I'm going out. After finishing my business, I'll probably go back to the Xiaolong region. Do you have a message for your master? Yi Qinghan whispered and broke the silence. Jian Chenxue was shocked and wanted to go back to the Xiaolong region. After thinking carefully, she realized that she had left the Xiaolong region for more than 10 years. She really missed the Sky Sword sect. What are you going to do? If you really go back to the Xiaolong region, send my regards. After you're done, I'll go back personally. Jian Chenxue asked curiously. I'm going to kill Nangong Powu and Zhe Kan and bring them back to worship Xiao Zhanqing's spirit. As long as he's alive, I won't be at ease and Xiao Zhanqing's spirit can't rest in peace. Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. Are you confident? There are only these two in the crazy sect, but they're both first-class experts. If there are other disciples, you won't be able to handle them alone. Jian Chenxue was a little worried. It's okay. I'm confident that I can kill them one by one. This isn't a fair battle, but a battle of revenge. I'll use all my trump cards. Yi Qinghan gritted his teeth. He hated the two to the core and wanted to kill them quickly. Be careful. The crazy sect still needs you. Jian Chenxue said no more. Yi Qinghan's will was not something that could be changed by ordinary people. Yi Qinghan left with the 3 monarch weapons and quickly disappeared outside the Emperor Abyss City. Chapter 329. In the boundless universe, the imperial domain was boundless. The river of stars stretched for millions of miles, making people feel powerless. Yi Qinghan didn't use the god-slaying eagle. He only wanted to act secretly. This was a battle of revenge. No matter what, Nangong Powu had to be killed. Otherwise, how could he face the billions of lives on Owl War Planet? There were experts everywhere in the imperial domain. The younger generation would fight if they didn't agree. Overall, they were divided into 3 factions: Dao Realm Holy Land, myriad races, and hidden clans. These 3 factions were the most powerful. Of course, there were also some independent cultivators. However, they were able to reach this stage because of their heaven-defying luck. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to fight until now. Yi Qinghan was dressed plainly and didn't attract anyone's attention. He inquired about Nangong Powu and Zhe Kan's whereabouts. This was a golden era. If Zhe Kan and Nangong Powu wanted to prove their Dao and fight for the throne, they couldn't hide in their ruined sections. At most, they would hide somewhere to recuperate. Nangong Powu went southeast to the eastern wasteland. Zhe Kan fled to the north. That's the northern tundra. Killing Nangong Powu is more important. Zhe Kan will fight sooner or later. Yi Qinghan pondered for a moment. The parrot sped past the border of the eternal battlefield. He didn't stop and directly killed his way to the eastern wasteland. Along the way, Yi Qinghan changed his appearance. He encountered many people from the hidden clans, but he didn't attack. The hidden clans were powerful. As long as it wasn't a hidden power, they had to submit wherever they went. Otherwise, they would be suppressed on the spot. Some of the hidden experts' followers bullied others and humiliated the major sections. Some female disciples were even forcefully taken away. They didn't look like cultivators at all. Yi Qinghan clenched his fist. This was fate in this chaotic world. You could only rely on yourself. He could save one, but not a second. Damn, what kind of trash are these hidden clans? How can their ordinary disciples be so trashy? The parrot was furious. It was very unhappy and wanted to attack. Forget it. Their sect elders and sect masters aren't attacking. They're afraid of death. What can I do if I attack? Yi Qinghan was dissatisfied with the servility and cowardice of some people. If they couldn't even protect their own sect's disciples, what was the point of establishing a sect? This divine bird. Bah! Snatching a female disciple, what's the difference between this and a bandit? Why do I feel that he's a freaking disciple of a hidden family? The parrot was rather speechless, and its sense of justice was bursting. In front of him was a towering and vast mountain. Spiritual energy swirled around it, and immortal energy pervaded the air. It covered the sky and covered the sun. The tall mountain towered. From afar, it looked like a human-shaped giant mountain. It looked like an otherworldly woman. Hence, it was named Jade Maiden Peak. This place was full of spiritual essence. During the ancient years, a powerful female cultivator took a fancy to this place. She was ranked as a fake emperor, and she established a sect here, naming it the Jade Woman Sword Sect. This place had always been a pure land. The disciples would occasionally leave the mountains to gain experience, so it wasn't too famous. However, ever since the experts of the hidden aristocratic families appeared, it was no longer peaceful. Get the hell out of my way. The fact that I took a fancy to your sect's disciple is your honor. Do you know who my young master is? If you anger me, I'll slaughter your entire sect. An arrogant voice rang out from afar. Below Jade Maiden Peak, more than 10 young experts were at the 5th layer of the Immortal Gate. They were all dressed in uniform, and each of them had 2 top-grade female cultivators in their hands. The female cultivators' clothes were ragged, and they were barely covering their bodies. They were forcefully suppressed, and their faces were filled with anger. They were unwilling to be humiliated, but they couldn't even kill themselves. You're going too far. Jade Maiden Peak doesn't allow disciples to marry outside. If you like, you can just come and propose marriage. Is there a need to snatch by force? What's the difference between this and a bandit? An old woman with a walking stick led more than 30 female disciples to block the violet-robed youth. However, their cultivation bases were uneven. Some had just broken through to the Immortal Gate, and the strongest was only at the 9th layer of the Immortal Gate. They were not a match for the violet-robed youths. Ha ha! Propose marriage? I don't want them for dual cultivation. I just want to borrow their essence. The leading youth laughed loudly. He grabbed a woman who was being stepped on and pulled her into his embrace. His hands touched her everywhere, causing the female cultivator to feel ashamed. Tears streamed down her face, but she was powerless to kill herself. The faces of those from Jade Maiden Peak turned ugly. They were incomparably ashamed, and the swords in their hands trembled. We're disciples of the Desire God sect. You'd better behave yourselves. We only want one sect. If you don't behave yourselves, we'll take you all away today and let you experience what a miserable fate is. Don't regret it when the time comes. Ha ha ha! The Desire God sect was a powerful sect that had developed since ancient times. In the beginning, their goal was dual cultivation. Later on, their goal was to snatch a woman's essence, and they forcefully broke through. Later on, they were met with resistance from various large factions, and in the end, they had to hide from the world. No one had expected them to reappear when a Tao realm Holy Land was in decline, and their actions were so arrogant. Evil sect, you'll all die a horrible death. A powerful female cultivator rushed out from Jade Maiden Peak. She was the strongest female disciple of Jade Maiden Peak, and her name was Yuqin. Her cultivation was even higher than some elders, and she was at the 7th stage of the Immortal Gate. Her combat strength was top-notch, but she was still far from being top-notch. Although her cultivation was good, compared to a powerful sect like the Desire God sect, her secret techniques and martial techniques were too weak. Yuqin's temperament was very otherworldly. Although she wasn't a peerless beauty, her cultivation was the highest. Her appearance instantly caused the eyes of the Desire God sect's disciples to light up. Kill them! Don't leave a single one alive! Yuqin was chaste. She would rather die in battle than be humiliated to death. She drew her sword and charged at the leading disciple of the Desire God sect. Get into formation and stop them. The old woman from Jade Maiden Peak gritted her teeth, unwilling to compromise. She led the other disciples to surround the other 9 expert. Swish, 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 more than 30 disciples moved in unison. They had cultivated the Jade Maiden sword formation to perfection, but its grade was not too high. At most, it could be considered a top-notch 6th-grade martial technique. Compared to the 7th-grade martial techniques of the Desire God sect's disciples, the difference was too great. The 9 experts sneered and threw the captured female cultivators to the back. They attacked viciously, instantly killing several disciples with weaker cultivations. Yuqin's combat strength was the strongest, and she fought with the strongest opponent. However, her opponent's secret technique was too powerful, and she was forced to retreat. Soon, several wounds appeared on her body. Swish, 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 swish. Yuqin was battered and exhausted. Every sword attack from her opponent took away a piece of her clothes, and her flesh was cut out. She was in a sorry state. Yuqin, run away quickly. Avenge us in the future. The old woman roared furiously. Pucci, a Desire God sect's disciple, pierced through her left shoulder and stabbed into a mountain behind her as he yelled at the female disciples of the Jade Maiden Peak, "All of you stop, or else I'll kill your sect master." The female cultivators were stunned. They were instantly suppressed by the Desire God sect's disciple, and their strength was sealed. Yuqin was also suppressed by the other party's expert, and her true yuan was sealed. Yiqinghan happened to pass by with the parrot. Their battle had just ended, and they did not expect to do such a thing in broad daylight. Finally, he could not endure it anymore. He clenched his fists and angrily shouted, "Stop! Who are you people? You have committed all kinds of evil, and have no regard for the law. The human race is in troubled times. Why don't you do something for the human race? Why are you so arrogant and despotic?" Yiqinghan angrily rebuked. The Desire God sect's disciple immediately stood up and angrily looked at Yiqinghan. He shouted, "Brat, are you tired of living? You dare to disturb me? Don't you know which sect we are from? How dare you meddle in our business? This divine bird doesn't know which mountain you came from, but I know where you're going." The parrot mocked. "Oh, this little bird is not bad. You actually know where we're going. Then tell me, where are we going?" The Desire God sect's disciple could not help but laugh. "To hell." The parrot unrestrainedly mocked. "This damned bastard, how dare he curse us? Let me tell you, we're from the Desire God sect. Our sect master is a quasi-emperor, and our eldest senior brother is a super-expert," the leading expert said coldly. "Then do you know who my master is?" the parrot provoked. "Who is your master?" the Desire God sect's disciple asked disdainfully. "My master is a handsome young master, Yiqinghan, the sect master of the Madness God sect. His battle prowess is unparalleled, and he is a true super-expert. He wields an imperial armament and can trample over thousands of heroes. Your sect master is not even fit to carry my master's shoes. The parrot said disdainfully. F*ck, I've really seen a ghost. Someone, go and kill him. Bring this damned bird back. I'm going to teach it a lesson, the leading disciple said angrily. A young man stepped out proudly. He was in the 5th layer of the immortal gate, and his battle prowess could be considered a pseudo-super expert. Why would he care about a nameless brat? He reached out to grab Yi Qinghan, as if he could crush Yi Qinghan with one hand. Gotcha. Yi Qinghan clenched his fist and broke his arm, instantly grabbing his throat. The destructive aura surged through his blood vessels and into his limbs and bones. That powerful cultivator at the 5th level of the immortal gate only had time to let out a muffled groan before collapsing to the ground. He was dead. He did not even have the chance to struggle. A bunch of trash. You don't think about improving yourself, and you only know how to bully the weak. Looks like I'll have to destroy all of you. Yi Qinghan's aura turned cold. He did not want to hold back anymore. The leading expert of the Desire God sect narrowed his eyes and threatened, "Fellow Taoist, we're from the Desire God sect. Think carefully before you do anything." Desire God sect? I've never heard of it. Are you going to kill yourselves, or do you want me to waste my time? Yi Qinghan stretched his neck, waved his hand, and asked coldly. You're courting death. Brothers, let's attack together and kill him first. Swish, the 9 powerful 5th layer Immortal Gate cultivators immediately abandoned the female cultivators in their hands and rushed towards Yi Qinghan with their weapons. Swish, swish, swish. Yi Qinghan slashed out 9 times in a row. Not a single slash was wasted. The saber chi split open the ground and almost split the Jade Maiden Sword Mountain. The 9 experts were directly disintegrated by the crisscrossing saber chi. Blood flowed all over the ground, and flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Fire! Yi Qinghan waved his hand, and a peak 7th grade flame burned everything in the surroundings. Even the rocks were burned into ashes. When the wind blew, they scattered, leaving no trace behind. Master is mighty! The parrot shouted. It wished that Yi Qinghan could kill a few more to vent the anger in his heart. Yi Qinghan was indifferent. With a flick of his finger, a stream of true qi turned into more than 20 streams of true qi, releasing more than 20 sealed female cultivators' qi seas. The female cultivators quickly got up. Yu Qin was in an even more miserable state. She crawled up in a sorry state. Yi Qinghan turned around and casually threw out some Immortal Gate Taoist robes. These were all personally made by him, and the quality was much better than the clothes they were wearing. Everyone quickly changed their clothes and respectfully knelt on the ground. Thank you, Senior, for your help. The disciples of the Jade Maiden Sword Sect are extremely grateful. Get up. Where's your sword sect master? Yi Qinghan frowned and asked. Cough, cough. The old woman coughed up blood. Although she did not die, she was heavily injured. At this moment, she said with difficulty, This old woman is the sect master. Thank you for your help, young master. I am extremely grateful. Please accept my defeat. Yi Qinghan hurriedly stretched out his hand to support the old woman. He said in a deep voice, Fellow Taoist, there's no need to be so courteous. It's good that you helped the disciples of your sect. I should have helped. The parrot curled its lips. The sect master was only at the 9th stage of the Immortal Gate realm. Moreover, she was at the edge of the imperial region. It was a miracle that such a sect could survive until now. It could not help but look at Yi Qinghan, hoping that he could help. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. How could such a sect cultivate in this chaotic world? However, they had no other choice. If they were left alone, their fate would be even worse. The local forces might take the opportunity to cause trouble and capture them. Chapter 330. Yi Qinghan pulled out the sword from the old woman's body and stopped the bleeding. He threw her a 6th-grade healing pill and said with a frown, "In this chaotic world, it's not suitable for a sect like yours. Go to the central area of the Imperial region. At least the ancient massacre god is there to maintain order." Yuqin knelt and said sorrowfully, "Young master, you don't know. Our cultivation is not strong and we don't have any foundation. How can we survive in the central area of the Imperial region? Master, help them to the end. How about you help them? Otherwise, what's the difference between us and those people?" Ever since the parrot killed the primal Chaos Emperor, it claimed to be the savior of the world. Its benevolence exploded and it wanted to save the weak. Seeing so many pitiful female cultivators, it immediately wanted to help. "Young master, please save us. So many disciples of the Desire God sect have gone missing. They will definitely come. Any elite disciple will be enough to make us powerless." Yuqin and the others all knelt on the ground. Even the old woman knelt and kept begging. Yi Qinghan was stunned. It was as if he saw Owl Warstar from back then. So many people were begging and crying like them, but no one helped. Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and sighed. "Sigh, take this token. If you see the ancient god of slaughter or the disciples of the Tao realm's sacred grounds, ask them to help send you to the insane sect on the east side of Emperor Abyss City. Let Xia Qiue make arrangements for you." Yi Qinghan threw out a wooden token. The words on it were not ordinary at all. They were soul-stirring. Insane sect. It was just 2 words, but it represented a legend. It could at least intimidate many people. Yuqin took the token. She was overjoyed when she saw the words on it. She looked up at Yi Qinghan excitedly and asked respectfully, "Young master, are you from the insane sect?" "Yes, there's no need to pack up Jade Maiden Peak. Hurry up and leave. This place is not suitable for you to stay," Yi Qinghan said and left. The world here was like Owl Warstar from back then. Many people were begging helplessly. Unfortunately, he could not help them all. In truth, it wasn't just the Imperial region that was like this. All of the endless universes were in chaos. Experts occupied an area and acted tyrannically, forcefully plundering resources. Corpses piled up like mountains, and many powerful female cultivators could be seen everywhere. In this chaotic world, only the strong could protect themselves. The weak could only cry in hell. Yuqin carried the old woman on her back and led the many female disciples to madly rush to the center of the sovereign domain under the cover of the night. They didn't dare to stop at all. They rested during the day and traveled at night. They didn't dare to appear in front of experts. They only dared to rush into the city when they were close to it. The city was not very safe. The people of the hidden aristocratic families did not care about the city lord of a small city. Some powerful sects also wanted to take the opportunity to make a profit. When they saw the female cultivators, their eyes lit up. A strong martial artist of the god realm led a group of disciples to surround Yuqin and the others. He jokingly said, "Fairies, seeing how tired you all are, I can tell that you are refugees. If you don't have anyone to rely on, why don't you join our Iron Wolf gang?" Yuqin couldn't help but retreat a few steps with the old woman on her back, but the other party was getting closer and closer, forcing them to the city gate. Whoosh! Yuqin flashed the wooden token and said with gritted teeth, "You are a local force of the sovereign domain. Don't tell me you don't recognize where this token came from?" The Iron Wolf gang was stunned. Who didn't know about the group of lunatics of the insane sect? Especially Yi Qinghan. With his violent temper, he even dared to scold a boundary emperor. Was there anything he didn't dare to do? There was also that stupid bird. It was said that he had killed the dead spirit emperor. The local forces of the sovereign domain had to be wary of the insane sect. Even the Tao realm's sacred grounds had to give them face. So, "Sorry, we didn't know you were from your sect. We will leave now." The strong martial artist's face was ashen. He felt a burning pain on his face, as if he had hit a metal plate. What are you waiting for? Apologize to the fairy. The strong martial artist of the Iron Wolf gang angrily scolded the disciples behind him. Fairy, we are sorry. We didn't mean to offend you, whoosh. The strong martial artist led the group of disciples out of the city. Yuqin couldn't help but exhale a turbid breath. She clutched the token tightly. The wooden token looked worthless, but it was a life-saving treasure in this chaotic world. At this moment, a middle-aged man wearing the battle robes of the ancient slaughter god just so happened to arrive here. They were in charge of maintaining order in the imperial region. Unfortunately, the ancient slaughter god had suffered heavy losses in the last war. Now, they were lacking in manpower and had to travel back and forth between several cities. They simply couldn't manage other matters. Yuqin was overjoyed. She ran to the strong martial artist and respectfully presented the token. Who gave you the insane sex token? How can I help you? The ancient massacre god's disciple was stunned. The words on the token were so arrogant that it could suppress the heavens. It was obvious that it was carved by a top expert of the insane sect. He immediately asked, Sir, it's a young man. He has a 7-foot-long sword in his hand. He saved us and asked us to take this token to the ancient massacre god's help to send us to the insane sect. Please help us. Yuqin directly knelt down and looked at the ancient massacre god's disciple expectantly. The ancient massacre god's status was very high. He wasn't someone that ordinary people could command. She couldn't guarantee that this wooden token wouldn't make him help. The ancient massacre god's disciple raised his eyebrows and his eyelids twitched. The young man described by Yuqin was Yi Qinghan. If he could help Yi Qinghan, he would have one more life-saving trump card in this chaotic world. You all come with me. The ancient massacre god's disciple led Yuqin and the others out of the city without hesitation. They finally didn't have to worry about anything. Yi Qinghan brought the parrot and sped all the way to the eastern wasteland. He didn't hide his tracks anymore. When he encountered evil cultivators, he directly killed them. He had offended countless forces. The local forces of the imperial domain were not afraid of him, but the people of the hidden forces were not. They kept sending experts to stop him. Unfortunately, they were all sent to their death. Yi Qinghan didn't treat them kindly, he only wanted to kill them. One man and one saber. In this chaotic world, he killed one person every 10 steps. Blood stained the ground. The parrot clamored. Every time it helped someone, it would leave behind the name Divine Bird Savior. For a while, rumors spread everywhere. Some people didn't even know if it was Yi Qinghan or a bird that helped. Finally, Yi Qinghan's strength attracted an expert, Diwu He. Diwu He joined forces with 3 experts from the Yinyang school, 5 disciples from the Profound sect, and 2 powerful 9th-layer Immortal Gate experts to attack Yi Qinghan's location. On the second day, a group of people blocked Yi Qinghan's path. Diwu Tianhe's killing intent soared to the heavens as he said coldly, Yi Qinghan, return the heavenly scripture of the Tao Si to me and I'll grant you an intact corpse. Fuck, I've never seen anyone who wants to die like you. If you hadn't injured Wu Xie, half of the light source would have been mine. It's all your fault, you bastard. I'm going to burn you alive. The parrot roared furiously when it saw Diwu Tianhe. It was even angrier than when it saw its enemy. The corners of Yi Qinghan's mouth curled up as he looked at the 11 experts. They were considered a formidable force. However, only Diwu Tian Gully could withstand a few blows from Yi Qinghan. I've been looking for you all over the world, and you actually came to me to die. Yi Qinghan sneered in disdain. He clenched his fist and charged into the crowd. Boom! Whoosh! The saber light pierced through the sky, and the tyrannical Qi could steal one's soul. Yi Qinghan was like a wolf in a flock of sheep. His basic saber art had become a killing secret art. The same secret art, but the power was on a completely different level. The experts from the profound sect and the 3 experts from the Yin-Yang school were instantly injured. The destructive qi attached to the saber qi killed most of their vitality. Saber shattering the Milky Way. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan was unstoppable. He turned into a god of war, and with a single slash, a shock wave rushed into the clouds, causing the ground to tremble. Ah! Run, Pucci! The miserable screams were instantly drowned out. When the dust settled, Diwu Tianhe was stunned. He looked around in horror. The 10 experts he had found hadn't even been able to withstand a single blow. They had all died without a complete corpse. Even their bones had been shattered into dust. This is impossible. It's only been 2 years. How can you be so strong? Diwu, he roared in anger and kept retreating. He had no more strength to fight. Master's greatness is not something you can imagine. Die in peace. Don't hang around in front of this divine bird. Just looking at you annoys me. The parrot said disdainfully while squatting on Yi Qinghan's shoulder. Yi Qinghan put away his saber and formed a seal with his palms. He waved his hand and said in a deep voice, "Be my stepping stone. I'll use you to test my secret art." Return of the Emperor Realm. Boom! The spiritual qi in the world was forcefully conscripted by Yi Qinghan. True Yuan poured out and formed a giant hand that suppressed Diwu He. Diwu He was scared out of his wits. He didn't dare to fight against Yi Qinghan. He turned around and ran away. However, his speed couldn't be compared to Yi Qinghan's. The giant hand broke through the void and hit Diwu He's back. Puff Diwu, he was almost suppressed by the palm. His body cracked and blood stained the ground. His body fell to the ground. In my name, I'll seal the space within 100 miles. Nothing will exist. Yi Qinghan roared. He used his palms to break the space and used the law of space to seal the area. Those who didn't have a deep understanding of the law of space couldn't tear the space apart. Sure enough, when Diwu He got up from the ground, he couldn't feel the law of space around him. He wanted to run away, but he couldn't. The Emperor descends. Yi Qinghan closed in and waved his hand again to suppress Diwu He. Yi Qinghan, stop it. If you dare to kill me, the Diwu family will not let you go. Diwu He roared in despair. If the Diwu family dares to oppose me, I'll destroy them. Yi Qinghan showed no mercy. No matter how strong a person like him was, he was still a selfish person. He didn't deserve to live. Boom! The giant hand smashed the ground and a huge pit appeared. Diwu He's blood splattered into the sky. His vitality was suppressed and he died on the spot. Today is Sister Doe's and my birthday. I'll write 10 chapters first. There will be more during the day. Please give me your blessings. A review, a tip, and a subscription are the best affirmation for me. Thank you. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.